पेपर पढ़ रहे हो रोज, न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते हो रोज? I'm hoping, huh? Not to read newspapers. Why? Not to read newspapers. Then what to read then? Okay, and you read it. Which paper? Excellent. And are you making notes out of it? And how would you know that it's very important? Have you? Okay. Oh, fine, fine. So, do one thing, right? You have to memorize your syllabus. From that, you'll know which topics are most important. Syllabus plus PYQ you have to see previous year questions. Okay? Then it will basically, create a boundary line. Morning, everyone. Sorry, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mani, Ganesh. Good afternoon, Vidhi. PDF link is shared, ना गणेश? ऊपर देखो, ड्राइव का लिंक शेयर्ड है. I think it's shared, but check करो. How are you all? How's the studies going? So I was just telling students that you need to, what you need to do, you need to memorize, syllabus. एक बार reshare के लिए बोल दीजिए. No, वो old messages are not, दिख नहीं रहा पुराने message. Okay, you need to memorize the syllabus as well as see PYQs. Okay, you'll get to know important themes and you have to map with current affairs जो अब newspaper में जो आ रहा है. ठीक है, read 1-2 article at least and just make notes. ठीक है, newspaper reading is a very good habit, right? It cultivates your comprehension skills, it gives you content and so on. Fine. अब मिला? So I will today take one article with you, this on agricultural front, an agenda for the new government. Then Bage sir will come and take the rest of articles. Fine. Okay, we'll cover this in roughly 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, we'll see linkages. Zoom, it's visible. Okay, fine. So let's start. The article is with you, I guess, right? So if you see, okay, starting if you see, it looks like a very political article. Have you read it? Just now you got it. Just start करो एक बार read करना. ठीक है, it was written by Ashok Gulati. You know Ashok Gulati? ठीक है, famous writer. He writes basically about agricultural things. ठीक है, agricultural issues on Indian Express. ठीक है, तो his views can be used as a solution in agriculture वाला section. Clear? अच्छे articles होते हैं उनके. ठीक है, जब भी आए, do read it. Fine, let's start. He started with the election results. Fine. And उसके बाद ये saying कि EVMs और VVPAT. Do you know EVMs? सुना होगा, right? VVPAT भी. ठीक है, तो जस्ट ये पॉलिटिकल ही है पूरा. एट लास्ट इसी पैरा के लास्ट सेकंड लास्ट लाइन में हो, एज द इलेक्शन कमीशन सेड, परिणाम में ही प्रमाण है, द प्रूफ इज इन द रिजल्ट्स, राइट? एंड इलेक्शन कमीशन इज सेइंग बेसिकली, और गुलाटी इज सेइंग दैट इंडियाज डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस इज रीजनेबली गुड एंड फुल प्रूफ. तो फोर्थ लाइन में एक लाइन है, ठीक है, जस्ट अंडरलाइन करो. फाइन. अब उसके बाद वी हैव बेसिकली एग्जिट पोल्स का मार्जिन्स विजिबल ऑनलाइन है ना. सेकंड, थर्ड, फोर्थ पैरा में वी हैव बेसिकली एग्जिट पोल के मार्जिन्स के बारे में डिस्कशन है. नॉट रेलेवेंट, जस्ट अ पॉलिटिकल न्यूज. ठीक है, मसाला टाइप अगर पढ़ना है तो पढ़ सकते हो, राइट? देन लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. फोर्थ पैरा देखो, इट्स हार्ड टू डिसाइवर द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑल दिस फैक्टर्स वाला जो पैरा है, इसमें सी लास्ट सेकंड लास्ट लाइन, it seems that rural India has sent a strong message to BJP. More importantly, there are lessons for the new government as well as for those who have lost the elections. Fine. ठीक है, तो इसमें बेसिकली जो क्रक्स है ऊपर बस ये लिखा, इतना जान लो कि बीजेपी हैज लॉस्ट मोस्ट ऑफ इट्स और फेड पुअर इन मोस्ट ऑफ इट्स रूरल सीट्स. ठीक है, if you are happy in democracy, if you are happy with the working of government, then you will give vote. ठीक है, if you are not happy, you will not give vote to that party. मतलब what you are seeing, accountability. ठीक है, you are basically demanding answers from government, right? So basically demanding some kind of responsibility from government. ठीक है, तो रूरल इंडिया हैज नॉट बेसिकली वोटेड इन फेवर ऑफ बीजेपी. ठीक है, तो क्या रीजन होगा? कुछ तो रीजन होगा. ठीक है, द मेजर रीजन वाज देयर रियल इनकम्स. ठीक है, रियल वेजेस हैज नॉट बीन इंक्रीज्ड. फाइन, the rural wages has not been increased. In fact, it has remained stagnant or declined. Real wages, it was stagnant or was declined in the second term of NDA. What is real wages? ये जान रहे हो? इनकम. ठीक है, जो हाथ में पैसा आ रहा है, एडजस्टिंग ऑल द इन्फ्लेशन कॉस्ट. क्लियर? थोड़ा बहुत क्लियर है? गुड आफ्टरनून सचिन. ठीक है, लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. ये तो बस इतना था. ठीक है, नाउ यहां से पैरा इंपॉर्टेंट है. ऑलमोस्ट 2/3 of India still lives in rural areas. Fine, around 66 to 68%. ठीक है, अब मैं जो भी लाइक बोलूंगा, इफ आई एम टेलिंग यू टू राइट, जस्ट साइड में ही लिख लेना. ठीक है, अलग से नोट्स तो नहीं बना रहे हो, राइट? ठीक है, इसी में लिख लोगे, याद रहेगा. क्लियर? ऑनलाइन क्लियर? ठीक है, जस्ट जॉट डाउन इन द साइड. फाइन, ऑलमोस्ट 2/3 of the India still lives in rural areas and their average per capita monthly expenditure is 3,700 as per NSO. And the average family size of 4.4, this translates to family monthly expenditure of 16,600. ठीक है, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है कि फैमिली जो मंथली एक्सपेंडिचर है, क्या होता है? दो चीज होती है, यू हैव इनकम एंड यू स्पेंड बेसिकली, राइट? ठीक है, ये तो समझ में आता है सबको. तो क्या बोल रहा है? अराउंड 16,000 है बोल रहे हैं. ठीक है, जस्ट रफली फिगर्स फॉर बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग. बट व्हाट इज द इनकम? कैन यू गेस क्या इनकम होगा? कैन यू गेस? देखते हैं प्रीलिम्स के तुक्का भी कैसे लगते हैं. 30,000. ओके, कितना होगा? 30-35. ओके, व्हाट्स योर एस्टिमेट? नो, पर मंथ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस. अरे तुम बहुत गरीब बना दिया फिर तो 30,000 पर एनम बोल के. दिस इज एक्सपेंडिचर पर मंथ. ठीक है, ऑफ अ फैमिली इन एग्रीकल्चर हाउस होल्ड. हाँ, any guesses? rough guesses? What's your name? Aniket. And yours? Simran, what's your guess? 25 2500 per month. इतना कैसे स्पेंड कर ले रहे फिर? ठीक है, ओके, मनी सेइंग 20,000. ओके, ठीक है, तो बेसिकली इनकम इज अराउंड 10,000. फाइन, तो मतलब पैसा कम आ रहा है, खर्चे ज्यादा हैं. क्लियर? ठीक है, तो कहाँ से आ रहा होगा फिर? कैसे फिर एक्स्ट्रा मनी आ रहा है? कुछ तो ऐड हो रहा होगा, राइट? क्या लगता है क्या होगा? अगर पैसे एकदम लॉजिकली सोचेंगे, राइट? इफ यू डोंट हैव मनी, व्हाट यू डू? यू बोरो, राइट? एंड वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट रूरल इंडिया. ठीक है, बैंकिंग इंफ्रा इज स्टिल नॉट देयर दैट मच, राइट? देयर इज पुअर पेनिट्रेशन ऑफ डिजिटल बैंकिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. ठीक है, एंड दीज है ना, बैंक का जो इंफ्रा है इज नॉट देयर, कैन से. ठीक है, एंड बैंक ऑल्सो टेक्स टाइम. ठीक है, जितना फार्मर्स को या रूरल एरिया में जितना अमाउंट चाहिए होता है, वेरी मीगर अमाउंट चाहिए होता है, वेरी स्मॉल अमाउंट, एंड बैंक समटाइम्स cannot able to give that small amount of loan, and technicalities are also there, attitude issues are also there. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले कहाँ जाएगा वो अगर उसको लोन लेना है तो? मनी लेंडर, इनफॉर्मल मनी लेंडर, राइट? तो जो तुरंत जहाँ से पैसा मिल जाएगा, राइट? तो इनफॉर्मल मनी लेंडर. इनफॉर्मल मनी लेंडर्स से क्रेडिट पे लेगा एट वेरी हाई इंटरेस्ट रेट. क्लियर? और क्या, और कहाँ से? मे बी उसके पास कुछ ना एनी सेविंग्स. यस इब्राहिम, एक्सेलेंट है, लोन्स. ठीक है, तो यहीं से लोन्स बोल रहा हूँ मैं. ठीक है, फॉर स्मॉल वंस. बिग फार्मर्स मे टेक लोन फ्रॉम बैंक्स. ठीक है, तो वहां भी डिस्पैरिटी आ गई. बैंक विल चार्ज कंपैरेटिवली लेस इंटरेस्ट रेट. फाइन, देन क्या होगा? कहाँ से लेगा? हाँ, मॉर्टगेजेस, इसी में मान ले रहा हूँ मैं, लोन्स एंड मॉर्टगेजेस. देन मे भी कुछ सेविंग्स होंगी, ठीक है, वो खत्म हो रही है बिकॉज खर्चा चलाना है ना, यू हैव एक्सपेंडिचर ऑफ 16,000, ठीक है, इफ यू आर लिविंग इन ORN और इन दिल्ली यू हैव सब सर्टेन एक्सपेंसेस, राइट, अगर कम है तो यू विल बेसिकली बोरो, राइट, घर से ज़्यादा मंगाओगे, फ्रीलांस और वर्क, राइट, ठीक है, और क्या, मे बी दे विल सेल देयर एसेट्स, जो रिमेनिंग एसेट्स क्या होते हैं, गांव में सबसे बड़ा एसेट क्या है, एक्सेल है ना, कहाँ खेती करोगे, लैंड में करोगे, लैंड और कैटल, ठीक है, सो कुछ ना कुछ जा रहा है, राइट, एंड एनीथिंग इफ एसेट इज गोइंग, इफ सेविंग्स इज गोइंग, इफ यू नो हाई इंटरेस्ट चार्ज, यू नो हाई इंटरेस्ट इज देयर, ठीक है, एंड यू हैव टू रीपे इट, ठीक है, इट काइंड ऑफ क्रिएट्स इनसिक्योरिटी अमंग फार्मर्स, फाइन। अब मनी लेंडर के केस में वो कभी ना कभी तो पैसे मांगेगा ना, एंड हर मंथ का खर्चा है लगभग ये, राइट, एंड यू नो इन्फ्लेशन लगभग, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट लास्ट ईयर अराउंड 6% था, ठीक है, इन्फ्लेशन वाज 6%, रफ फिगर, ठीक है, तो बार बार अगर मांगेगा फार्मर विल फील ह्यूमिलेटेड, राइट, इट विल लीड टू डिक्लाइन इन इट्स हिज और हर डिग्निटी, ठीक है, एब्यूज मे ऑल्सो देयर, फाइन, एब्यूज भी होगा, भाई उसको यू नो स्लैंग यूज कर रहा है उसको कि भाई मेरे पैसे दे, भाई यू आर नॉट गिविंग, ऐसा वैसा, तो ही विल फील बेसिकली ह्यूमिलेटेड, है ना, एनी ह्यूमन, हर ह्यूमन की डिग्निटी होती है, यू कैन नॉट बेसिकली नो डिनाई हिम दैट और हर दैट, तो क्या होगा, एक्सट्रीम केस में क्या होगा, मे बी फार्म सुसाइड्स, ठीक है, एंड इट विल इम्पैक्ट होल फैमिली, है ना, पूरा घर टूट गया, ठीक है, क्यों हो रहा है ये, क्योंकि ये डिस्पैरिटी है, योर एक्सपेंसेस आर हाई बट योर इनकम इज कम, तो यही बोल रहा है कि द लाइन, द फर्स्ट लाइन, इफ यू सी, लेट्स कम टू नो first para of this, the whole article, first para of the whole article, fourth line, India's democratic process is reasonably good and foolproof, मतलब real wages has been stagnant, बढ़े नहीं है ना, पैसे नहीं बढ़े हैं, राइट, सो बेसिकली दे आर डिमांडिंग अकाउंटेबिलिटी, हमने डिस्कस किया, हमने लिखा था, राइट, ठीक है, आंसर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मांग रहा था, ये नहीं मिल रहा है गवर्नमेंट से, रियल वेजेस आर डिक्लाइनिंग और स्टैग्नेंट, ठीक है, इस वजह से बीजेपी का बैक स्लाइडिंग है रूरल एरियाज में, क्लियर, ठीक, ठीक, रीड अगेन, लेट्स मूव टू नेक्स्ट पेज में आओ, नेक्स्ट पेज में आओ, वेलकम, नेक्स्ट पेज में, first line, on the agricultural front the growth in agri GDP was just 1.4% as per the latest provisional estimates released by Ministry of Statistics, ठीक है, fine, if you know the average GDP growth of India उस time around 8.2, ठीक है, अब 8 हाँ प्रीवियस फाइनेंशियल अराउंड 8.2, ठीक है, मतलब इट वाज जस्ट कंपेयर इट 8.2 वर्सेस एग्रीकल्चर में कितना हो रहा है 1.4%, एनी आइडिया कि एग्रीकल्चर में कितने पॉपुलेशन बिलोंग करती हैं, हाउ मच पॉपुलेशन बिलोंग, यू आर सेइंग 33%, यू 60 to 65, एक्सेलेंट, सचित, इब्राहिम, मनी, मोर देन 50, ओके, गणेश, ठीक है, इट्स अराउंड बेसिकली नो डायरेक्ट अगर एंगेजमेंट में देखूं तो अराउंड 45% है, ठीक है, इनडायरेक्ट एंगेजमेंट पर हूं तो इट क्रॉसेस मोर देन 50, क्लियर, 1.4% ग्रोथ, इतना पॉपुलेशन है, बहुत नाइंसाफी नहीं है, राइट, तो कैसे उनकी इनकम ही नहीं बढ़ेगी, क्लियर, तो इस वजह से रियल वेजेस आर नॉट इंक्रीजिंग, इतना परसेंट ग्रोथ में क्या होगा, कुछ नहीं होने वाला, क्लियर, डायरेक्ट इज बेसिकली 45%, बेसिकली इनडायरेक्टली मैं काउंट करूं तो मोर देन 50% जाता है, क्लियर, बट इफ यू सी इंडिया का जो ग्रोथ है ना, इट इज स्टिल काउंटेड एज वाज वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमीज, राइट, ग्रोथ रेट G20 में, तो काइंड ऑफ चेस्ट थम्पिंग है, ठीक है, बट रिलेवेंस देखो ना, जो एक्चुअल मासेस है दे आर नॉट गेटिंग बेनिफिटेड, ठीक है, वही लिखा है, कम टू नेक्स्ट पैरा, सिंस ओवरऑल GDP ग्रोथ इन Since overall GDP growth in FY24 was 8.2%, the euphoria in business circles and media dominated the news. ठीक है, it seemed that India is in top gear with the highest growth rate among all the large economies of the world, including G20. There is no doubt about that. ठीक है, excellent line. But if the agriculture sector is growing as just 1.4% and it engages 45.8% of the workforce, one can imagine what is happening to the well-being of masses. Fine. At last, your government is serving for the well-being of masses, right? Basically, it's failing if it's not doing his or their duty, right? Then giving people 5 kg per capita month of free rice of wheat is not enough. That's just a dole. Dole मतलब grant, ठीक है? Their real incomes must be raised substantially. ठीक है, एक चीज और बताता है, राइट? यू हैव इन योर सिलेबस GS3 में अगर देखोगे, ठीक है, एग्रीकल्चर तो है, बट इफ यू सी क्या हुआ, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ है 8.2%, एग्रीकल्चर है 1.4%. द ग्रोथ हैज नॉट बीन वेरी मच अनइवन, है ना? इकोनॉमिक इनइक्वालिटी बढ़ेगा, इससे बढ़ रहा है, नो डाउट. ठीक है, इस केस में अगर देखें तो मतलब देयर इज अ इशू इन ग्रोथ. ठीक है, if I talk about your GS3 syllabus, it has inclusive growth, the exact syllabus का word I am writing, and the issues arising out of it. Fine. इसमें से this is a broad topic and we are dealing a part which is agriculture, ठीक है, और rural India. ठीक है, inclusive growth and the issues arising out of it. You saw कि भाई ग्रोथ कैसे इंक्लूसिव नहीं है, राइट? बिकॉज इट हैज एक्सक्लूडेड ऑलमोस्ट 45%, है ना? बहुत मीगर ही वहाँ इंक्रीज हो रहा है. क्लियर? ऑनलाइन इतना क्लियर है? क्लियर है? जस्ट राइट द डेफिनेशन ऑफ इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ. ठीक है, इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ, राइट? द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ द ग्रोथ, द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ द ग्रोथ इज डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड फेयरली, and creates opportunity for all, ठीक है, it is called as this inclusive growth. Clear? It has three components. क्या क्या होगा? क्या क्या डायमेंशन, अगर मैं बोलूं ग्रोथ की बात करूं तो व्हाट आर द एस्पेक्ट्स यू कैन बेसिकली गेस. सोचते हैं ना हम लोग, ये ब्रेनस्टॉर्म. ग्रोथ की मैं बात करूं तो कैसा ग्रोथ होना चाहिए? हाँ, मतलब काइंड ऑफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इकोनॉमिक टर्म्स एंड सेइंग इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ होना चाहिए. मतलब ग्रोथ होगा तभी तो इट विल बी बेसिकली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड अमंग ऑल सेक्शंस. फाइन. हाँ, ठीक है, एक्सेलेंट. व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज काइंड ऑफ सोशल सेक्टर, राइट? मतलब इट शुड बी इंक्लूसिव और सोशली इंक्लूसिव, कि मतलब सबको एजुकेशन मिले, सबके लिए हेल्थ हो, राइट? सबको स्किलिंग्स मिले, सोशली इंक्लूसिव. एंड एक ग्रोथ और कैसा होना चाहिए? बिकॉज यू हैव पॉलिटिकल, ओके, जस्ट लुक अराउंड यू बेसिकली, व्हाट्स द क्लाइमेट. हाँ, एक्सेलेंट, है ना? एक्सेलेंट. तो एनवायरमेंटली सेंसिटिव, ठीक है, मतलब ये भी हार्म नहीं होना है, ग्रोथ भी होना है, एंड इट शुड बी केटर्ड टू ऑल द सेक्शन सोसाइटी. दिस इज मे बी यू कैन से द 3 पिलर्स ऑफ इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ. ठीक है, अब जो भी क्वेश्चन आएगा यूपीएससी में कहीं भी आएगा, सोचना कैसे है? यूल थिंक अबाउट इकोनॉमिक टर्म्स, यूल थिंक अबाउट सोशली इंक्लूसिव टर्म्स एंड एनवायरमेंटली सस्टेनेबल टर्म्स. काइंड ऑफ कंसेप्ट ऑफ थोड़ा बहुत सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की तरफ है. क्लियर? सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट ही है, ठीक है, बस उसको हमने एक्सपैंड किया. क्लियर? जस्ट राइट वन कोट, राइट? इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ डजंट मीन एनीथिंग. इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ डजंट मीन एनीथिंग if it leaves people out of it. If it leaves people out of it. कहाँ यूज कर सकते हो? इंट्रो, कंक्लूजन, ठीक है, जहां जहां रिलेवेंट है. ठीक है, बाय जैक कैंप. नाम याद में नहीं रखोगे तो इट्स फाइन, जस्ट नो द कोट. जैक कैंप, ही वाज अ फॉर्मर यूएस रिप्रेजेंटेटिव. ठीक है, लेट्स मूव अहेड. Let's come again to first page. You know that ग्रोथ इंक्लूसिव नहीं है मे बी, ठीक है, अभी ऐसा परसीव हो रहा है. ओके, आई एम रिपीटिंग द कोट. इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ डजंट मीन एनीथिंग इफ इट लीव्स पीपल आउट ऑफ इट. ठीक है, नाउ सी लास्ट में पैरा में आओ. ठीक है, द फोर्थ फिफ्थ लाइन बेसिकली, देयर इज नो डाउट दैट मोदी गवर्नमेंट हैज introduced major changes in rural areas through its schemes to build toilets, houses, PM आवास योजना, टॉयलेट्स में स्वच्छ भारत, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर हर घर नल से जल, रूरल रोड्स बेसिकली प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी सप्लाई. एनी आइडिया अबाउट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी सप्लाई? कौन सा स्कीम था? लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी ऑफ एनर्जी विद इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्सेस. उज्ज्वला इज फॉर गैस कनेक्शन. ठीक है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्सेस इज फॉर सौभाग्य स्कीम. इट वाज देयर, जस्ट राइट इट डाउन. सौभाग्य, सौभाग्य. ठीक है, ऐसा करके यू कैन राइट एनर्जी सौभाग्य. इट्स कॉल्ड एक्सेस टू इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. कहाँ? लास्ट माइल. ठीक है, एनर्जी कनेक्शन. ठीक है, सेकेंड यू आर सेइंग उज्ज्वला, दिस इज गैस कनेक्शन. ठीक है, फाइन. फॉर क्लीन कुकिंग, इंडोर पॉल्यूशन कम होगा इससे. ठीक है, इससे इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी बढ़ेगी इन रूरल एरियाज. क्लियर? यस, एक्सेलेंट सचर्ज. सहज बिजली हर घर योजना, गुड. ठीक है, तो इन एनर्जी यू कैन राइट दिस. रोड्स में यू कैन राइट प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना. फाइन, बाकी इसमें लिखा ही है. But if you see, despite giving all this, despite giving all the infra, ये क्या है? Physical infrastructure ही है ना? You can say that. ठीक है, and roads, fine, toilets, roads भी हैं, we have toilets. ठीक है, स्वच्छ भारत मिशन, ग्राम सड़क, fine, we have housing. हाउसिंग कौन सा है? आवास. ठीक है, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर नल से जल. तो वी हैव प्रोवाइडेड फिजिकल इंफ्रा, बट तब भी क्यों नहीं हो रहा है फिर ग्रोथ? दिस इज अ हार्डकोर थिंग, है ना? आपने इंफ्रा खड़ा कर दिया, बट इसको यूज करने के लिए यू नीड कैपेबिलिटीज, यू नीड स्किल्स. तो द मेन क्वेश्चन इज, और देयर रिलेवेंट इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रक्चर शुड बी बेसिकली ट्रांसफॉर्म. ठीक है, आप बना रहे हो रोड्स, यहाँ आप बना रहे हो रोड्स टू कनेक्ट अर्बन एंड रूरल मार्केट. ठीक है, टॉयलेट्स बना रहे हो आप, हाउसिंग दे रहे हो, एनर्जी का एक्सेस दे रहे हो, बट इफ यू आर सीइंग एग्रीकल्चरल ग्रोथ ही नहीं हो रहा है. ठीक है, मतलब वहां कुछ मेजर इशू है, पहला. सेकंड स्किल सेट में मेजर इशू है. ठीक है, इट मे हैपन दैट फार्मर्स और दिस रूरल एरियाज पीपल है, रूरल पॉपुलेशन डू नॉट पॉसेस एडिक्वेट स्किल कैपेबिलिटीज. स्किल्स ही नहीं है. आप लोगों ने दे दिया इतना, बट दे डू नॉट नो हाउ टू यूज इट इफेक्टिवली. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई टेक द example of tribal areas. ठीक है, you are providing roads. ठीक है, but mostly the socio-economic indicators is very much low. They still travel by foot. ठीक है, तो पहले नेचर ट्रेल्स में चल रहे थे, अब वो रोड में चल रहे हैं. ठीक है, they do not have that skills. या इकोनॉमिक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन अभी नहीं हुआ है कि उनके पास 2 व्हीलर या 4 व्हीलर आए कि वो अपना है ना इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी या अपना स्टेटस इंप्रूव कर पाए. तो मेन थिंग इज यू नीड टू इंप्रूव योर स्किल्स और कैपेबिलिटीज. ठीक है, ऑफ दोज पीपल. क्लियर? नेक्स्ट आओ. ये चीज समझ में आती है, दस द ग्रोथ इज बेसिकली नॉन इंक्लूसिव, है ना? इतना समझ में आता है. नाउ व्हाट नीड टू डू? फैक्ट है विजिबल, राइट? कम टू नेक्स्ट पेज. इसी में थर्ड फोर्थ लाइन. If the agriculture sector is growing at 1.4% and it engages 45.8% of workforce, then one can imagine what is happening to the well-being of masses. ठीक है? It says that India has basically, solution क्या है? India needs to move its labor, farm labor, from farm jobs टू नॉन फार्म प्रोडक्टिव जॉब्स। मतलब अगर ये लैंड है, यही पूरा पॉपुलेशन, पूरा इतना ज्यादा पॉपुलेशन इस लैंड पे, बहुत प्रेशर है लैंड पे, क्लियर, पोस्ट कोविड और भी हो गया था बीच में, क्लियर। सो व्हाट गुलाटी is saying, Gulati Sahab is saying that we need to move away from this labor to non-farm productive activities, sectors or activities. Now tell me what can be non-farm productive sectors in rural areas? Any idea? एक्सेलेंट है ना, बोलते जाओ, यही सोच रहे हो, यही सोच वहां भी लिखना है। हैंडलूम बोल रहे हो, ठीक है, विल स्ट्रक्चर इट, ठीक है, वी आर स्पीकिंग अबाउट स्मॉल स्केल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में भी, है ना। अपने सिलेबस इसलिए याद करने बोल रहा हूँ, सिलेबस से ही बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स यू विल गेट टू नो। एक्सेलेंट, तो सिलेबस में यू हैव फूड प्रोसेसिंग इंडस्ट्री, राइट, सो फूड प्रोसेसिंग इंडस्ट्री। देखो सोचना कैसे है, पाम है, पाम, इसके रिलेवेंट आसपास की चीजें क्या होगी, यही कुछ उगेगा, यहाँ फल उगाओगे मान लो, तो इट हैज टू बी प्रोसेस्ड, ठीक है, प्रोसेस के लिए आप फैक्ट्री या मशीन लगाओगे, इस वजह से फूड प्रोसेसिंग वी हैव, ठीक है। इट मे नीड ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड स्टोरेज, वेयर हाउसेस, वेयर हाउसेस। Many rural area are in very good locations tourism wise, so will promote rural tourism, है ना। इको फ्रेंडली मॉडल है अभी भी, इफ यू सी नेशनल पार्क्स में ट्राइब्स को they are basically integrated into conservation model, yes, ठीक, जॉइंट फॉरेस्ट मैनेजमेंट भी है, राइट, तो बेसिकली टूरिज्म, रूरल टूरिज्म, ये पॉइंट नोट करो, ठीक है। नॉन फार्म प्रोडक्टिव सेक्टर्स, नॉन फार्म प्रोडक्टिव सेक्टर्स इन रूरल एरियाज, यस, हैंडीक्राफ्ट, एक्सेलेंट, है ना, यस, एक्सेलेंट, एमएसएमई, है ना, रूरल एरियाज में एमएसएमई, फोकस ऑन कोऑपरेटिव्स, मेकिंग एफपीओज एंड बिल्डिंग काइंड ऑफ दिस फूड प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट्स और एक्सपोर्ट यूनिट्स, ठीक है, एमएसएमईज हो गया, ठीक। देन कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर्स, फोकस ऑन कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर्स ऑल्सो, ठीक है। दिस इज द फर्स्ट पॉइंट। हम क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हैं कि ग्रोथ भाई जो है नॉन इंक्लूसिव है, नॉन इंक्लूसिव है। अब व्हाट वी नीड टू डू, तो फर्स्ट इज मूव द सरप्लस लेबर इनटू नॉन फार्म प्रोडक्टिव सेक्टर्स। तो फर्स्ट पॉइंट इज दिस, क्लियर है, ये ऑनलाइन क्लियर है? दिस वन, रूरल टूरिज्म, रूरल टूरिज्म, ठीक है। अब हमने सेकंड क्या डिस्कस किया था, अपने इंफ्रा तो दे दिया, बट इफ द पीपल डू नॉट हैव that kind of skills or capabilities, they cannot use it, we need to invest in their skills, right? Second point, investing in skill capabilities, investing in skill capabilities, ठीक है। just know one thing that around there was actually Skill India report, ठीक है, just jot down this fact, it said that India had only 4% formal skilling, ठीक है। साउथ कोरिया में 90%, more than 90%, अराउंड 95-96% फॉर्मल होता है, इंडिया में कितना है, 4% फॉर्मल स्किलिंग। देन द प्लेसमेंट आउट ऑफ दिस स्किल, इतने लोग स्किल हो गए, ठीक है, 4% आर स्किल्ड। अब इतने प्लेसमेंट में भी जो स्किल है उसका भी जो प्लेसमेंट रेशियो है, there is it's very poor, less than 50%, ठीक है, it's around 40-43%, ठीक है, ऑल इंडिया एवरेज, क्लियर। उसमें भी there is very less focus on vulnerable sections or women, क्लियर। थोड़ा बहुत मैं लाइक और यू सी टेक्नोलॉजी इज ह्यूजली चेंजिंग, ठीक है। आप स्किल 1-2 साल का कोर्स करते हो तब तक टेक्नोलॉजी ही चेंज हो जाती है, ठीक है। तो स्किल कोर्सेज आर नॉन अपडेटेड with respect to emerging technologies, like AI, ठीक है, just write it down। these are kind of problems. So what we need to do, take a build skills. So a few days back actually Andhra Pradesh CM of Andhra Pradesh, he talked about we need to have skill census for India. So that's a very good keyword, just note it down. Skill census होना चाहिए, right? कितना इंडिया में स्किल है, कितना जरूरत है, ठीक है? We need to have skill census, right? India need to focus, ठीक है, for its next skill India mission. Skill census बहुत जरूरी है उसके लिए. Yes, Sachit, there are many issues actually, regulatory issues भी है Sachit in this skill वाला. I'm not going deep into that, ठीक है? It was just a solution part, general studies है ना. Fine. Next point. इसमें लिखा है I guess. हाँ. Come to how do we do that? This is a lesson for all political parties who want people to gain from development process or demand that the growth process becomes more inclusive. In this context, 3 things must be remembered. पहला, there are too many people dependent on agriculture, जो हमने लिखा अभी, right? They need to move to high productivity non-farm jobs. This could be in rural areas to build rural infra. हमने लिखा rural infra जो है warehouses and all, ठीक है? और outside the rural economy to build urban India, मतलब migration बोल रहा है, ठीक है? Migrating the skilled surplus labor into urban region and urban India का development हो रहा है, ठीक है? तो उससे क्या होगा? There is development of linkages, rural है, there is urban, right? ठीक है? Labor is going, working here, remittance is flowing, internal remittance, ठीक है? Fine. When labor is coming, he is coming with urban values. So rural area is getting more progressive. ठीक है? Clear? The importance of education, health, nutrition is coming from urban to rural India. ये clear हो रहा है? हाँ? Fine. हाँ, so that's a lacuna in basically our urban policy. But ideally it should be this, when they are going into urban area, they should be absorbed in such a way that they should have some kind of dignified living. ठीक है? स्लम्स को आप रीडेवलपमेंट करके अच्छा बना सकते हो, ठीक है? उनके वेजेस है ना, उनको इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर में आ जाते हैं ना इन जनरल, उसको फॉर्मलाइज करके आप अच्छा बना सकते हो, ठीक है? दिस इज द आइडियल सिचुएशन, ठीक है? यस, देयर आर लैकुना, नो डाउट अबाउट दैट. क्लियर? लेकिन ये देखो कि अभी भी इफ दे आर लिविंग इन स्लम, दे सेंड रेमिटेंस. हो सकता है रेमिटेंस कम हो, लेकिन भेज तो रहे हैं, ठीक है? शहर से जब दे आर कमिंग, तो दे आर कमिंग विद देयर अर्बन वैल्यूज, ठीक है? यहाँ अवेयरनेस बढ़ती है अबाउट वैक्सीनेशन, एवरीथिंग. फाइन. और क्या हो रहा है? रूरल और अर्बन एरिया का डिफरेंस, डाइवर्सिटी का डिफरेंस भी कम होता है. क्लियर? देयर इज लैक ऑफ ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट, ठीक है? मतलब ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट कम होता है. क्लियर? ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इसमें आते हैं. It would require massive investments in skill formation for higher productive jobs. हमने स्किल के बारे में लिख लिया, ठीक है? वही चीज थी. The industry needs to pitch in to train people for meaningful jobs. Fine, we have expanded it, है ना? Now come to second. Within agriculture, the focus needs to be shifted from basic staples, especially rice, which is abundant supply, to high value agriculture like poultry, fishery, dairy, fruits and vegetables. मतलब basically horticulture है, उसकी बात है. High value agriculture being perishable requires fast moving logistics in the value chain approach like Amul model in milk. The new government needs to chalk out robust strategy for that. Fine. You need to know कि भाई फार्म में भी दो चीज किया हमने. ये फार्म में जो सरप्लस लेबर है उनको पहले हटाया, ठीक है? अब इसी फार्म में वी नीड बेसिकली चेंजिंग द क्रॉप्स, ठीक है? इंट्रा लैंड में हम वी आर चेंजिंग द क्रॉप्स टू हाई वैल्यू क्रॉप्स. फाइन. जो आपको ज्यादा इनकम दे सके और उसी से रियल वेजेस ऑफ फार्मर्स बढ़ेगा, बिकॉज इट विल हैव एक्सपोर्ट पोटेंशियल, इट वुड हैव ग्रेटर डिमांड इन अर्बन एरियाज. फाइन. नेक्स्ट कम third factor. Given the increasing number of climate climate change induced extreme weather events like heat waves or flash floods, India needs to invest heavily in climate smart agriculture. This is the keyword for you, climate smart agriculture, including agrivoltaics. This is also another keyword for you, right? Solar as a third crop for farmers that can give regular monthly income even when other crops fail due to drought or floods. ठीक है? Fine. Write about a bit about climate smart agriculture पहले. देखो, climate smart. India needs to invest in climate smart agriculture. What is climate smart agriculture? ठीक है, just easy way to remember. Mitigate greenhouse gases from agriculture. मीथेन निकलता राइस पैडी से, राइट? बेसिकली सेइंग कि उसको कर्व करो, ठीक है? देन क्लाइमेट चेंज इज अ रियलिटी, वी नो, वी नीड टू अडॉप्ट, ठीक है? एडेप्टेशन टू क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट क्रॉप्स, क्लाइमेट चेंज रेजिलिएंट क्रॉप्स क्या क्या है? एनी आइडिया? मिलेट्स, क्लियर? देन ensure that there is productivity and increase in income for farmers. फाइन. इजी वे का तरीका क्या याद रखने का? मैप. एन फॉर मिटिगेशन, ए फॉर एडेप्टेशन, पी फॉर प्रोडक्टिविटी. क्लियर? ये याद रहेगा? यस यस. इसमें नो, इसमें आए, इसमें पढ़ा लो, ठीक है? बिकॉज एफिशिएंसी बढ़ रही है आपकी. फाइन. ये भी आएगा, इसमें भी आएगा, मतलब इट्स अप टू यू कहाँ यूज करना है, ठीक है? अभी क्या होता है पैडी के फील्ड में, यू नीड टू हैव लॉट ऑफ वाटर. इफ यू आर यूजिंग अनदर काइंड ऑफ इरिगेशन लाइक माइक्रो इरिगेशन, यू कैन यूज दिस, राइट? वो पानी जो जमा है उसी की वजह से तो मीथेन रिलीज हो रहा है. यू हैव टू कट GHG, ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस, कैन यूज हियर. Productivity and income for farmers. Increase in productivity and income basically for population of farmers. Fine. ठीक है, ये क्लियर है? लास्ट में जस्ट राइट वन कोट. Agriculture can trigger job-led economic growth. Agriculture can trigger job-led economic growth. Job-led economic growth provided it becomes intellectually satisfying. Provided it becomes intellectually satisfying. And economically rewarding. It was by M.S. Swaminathan. It was by late Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. Clear? What do you mean by intellectually satisfying? Any idea? उसको expand करो. So दो चीज है, ठीक है? Intellectually satisfying and economically rewarding. अभी जितना पढ़ा है, जितना भी ज्ञान मिला है आप लोगों को, जस्ट अप्लाई इट. कौन सा चीज यहाँ आ सकती है, कौन सी चीज यहाँ आ सकती है, और जस्ट अप्लाई, एटलीस्ट ट्राई. ठीक है, आई एम जस्ट सेइंग नो, जो भी स्ट्रैटेजीज लिखी आपने ना, जस्ट ट्राई कि भाई कौन सी चीज एग्रीकल्चर की इकोनॉमिकली रिवॉर्डिंग होगी. ठीक है, तो ओके, एक्सपैंड इट इन कंक्रीट टर्म्स. फाइन. इफ आई एम सेइंग इकोनॉमिकली रिवॉर्डिंग, मतलब मैं फार्म में क्या ऐसा करूंगा विच विल बी इकोनॉमिकली रिवॉर्डिंग फॉर मी. ओके, राइट. फूड प्रोसेसिंग, गुड है ना, यही सोच रहे हैं हम. फूड प्रोसेसिंग हो गया. और पढ़ा ना हमने, मूविंग टू हाई वैल्यू क्रॉप्स, रूरल टूरिज्म, वेयर हाउस, मूविंग टू हाई वैल्यू क्रॉप्स, हॉर्टिकल्चर है ना, फ्रूट्स एंड वेजीज, अडेप्टिंग एक्सेलेंट, अडॉप्टिंग टू क्लाइमेट चेंज रेजिलिएंट क्रॉप, है ना, क्या कर रहे हैं हम, यस पोल्ट्री एक्सेलेंट, पता है सबको, सबको पता है, नो डाउट, ठीक है, यस, बट यू नीड टू अप्लाई, पहले से अगर सोच लोगे तो इट विल बी वेरी इजी फॉर यू। वो इसमें कर देना, ठीक है, अब डालना है कुछ पॉइंट्स, और बायोटेक, ठीक है, फोर्टिफाइड क्रॉप्स, फाइन, यहाँ भी यू कैन यूज योर क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट, यू नो, R&D इन एग्रीकल्चर, फाइन, ये सब यहाँ डाल सकते हो। आई जस्ट नो जस्ट गिविंग यू फॉर्डर कि कैसे सोचना है और कैसे एक्सपैंड करना, क्लियर, ठीक है, लास्ट पैरा, जस्ट सी, एक और है, सोलार एज अ थर्ड क्रॉप, जो एग्रोवोल्टेक्स लिखा है, वो भी आप इकोनॉमिकली रिवॉर्डिंग, वो भी इनकम ही बढ़ा रहा है ना, एग्रोवोल्टेक्स लिखा था ना आपने, सोलार एज अ थर्ड क्रॉप, ओके, सोलार पैनल्स लगाते हैं, ठीक है, इट्स जनरेटिंग इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, तो द सरप्लस इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कैन बी ट्रांसफर टू द मेन ग्रिड, ठीक है, तो गवर्नमेंट और दैट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनी विल पे यू फॉर दैट, इट्स एक्स्ट्रा इनकम, ठीक है, इसलिए इट्स सेइंग सोलार इज द थर्ड क्रॉप, क्लियर, तो वहां से भी पैसा आ रहा है, तो अगर पैसा ही पैसा है तो उसको यहाँ डालेंगे, ठीक है, फाइन, नाउ कम टू लास्ट पॉइंट, we need an experienced person heading agriculture and rural development in the Modi government. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who is in cabinet and whose leadership Madhya Pradesh agriculture registered the highest growth in last 15 years, might be the best person for the job. ठीक है, तो he is now the agriculture minister, तो it has MP model, तो बहुत डिटेल में तो नहीं जाऊंगा मैं MP मॉडल में, बट एनी आइडिया अबाउट MP मॉडल? गुड गणेश, अच्छा, इट्स अप्लाइड इन योर विलेज, सोलार एज अ थर्ड क्रॉप, एक्सेलेंट। हाँ, MP मॉडल में बेसिकली क्या होगा, जो हमने डिस्कस किया ना इन सम ऑफ द अदर फॉर्म, वही था, मूविंग टू हाई वैल्यू क्रॉप्स, ठीक है, एकदम लॉजिकली सोचेंगे, अगर खेत है तो पहले क्या चाहिए होता, पानी चाहिए होता, राइट, ठीक है, तो एक्सेस टू इरिगेशन वाज इंक्रीज्ड इन मध्य प्रदेश, इट इज अराउंड नाउ 80%, इट्स राइट, MP मॉडल, some points, no, then moving to high value crops, fine, adapting to climate change resilience, है ना, फोकस किस में कर रहे थे, पल्सेस में कर रहे थे, ठीक है, लाइक पल्सेस, ठीक है, मिलेट्स भी हो गया, सोयाबीन, है ना, चना, मूंग, ठीक है, डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ पल्सेस, देन दे हैड कस्टम हायरिंग सेंटर्स, मतलब यहाँ क्या होता, एग्रीकल्चरल मशीनरी चाहिए, राइट, यू नीड हार्वेस्टर्स एंड एवरीथिंग, है ना, कस्टम, और सबके नो इट्स अफोर्डेबिलिटी इशू फॉर स्मॉल फार्मर्स, दे हैव मेड कस्टम हायरिंग सेंटर्स व्हेन यू कैन रेंट, ठीक है, रेंट इट आउट द मशीन्स टू फार्मर्स, तो क्या हो रहा है, जॉब भी क्रिएट हो रहा है स्मॉल टाउन्स में, ठीक है, और फार्मर्स को फैसिलिटी भी बन रही है, मिल रही है, क्लियर, ठीक है, हाँ, देन बेसिकली ऑल्सो फोकस्ड ऑन बायोफोर्टिफाइड सीड्स, देखो बायोफोर्टिफाइड सीड्स, देन डेवलपमेंट ऑफ मार्केट्स नियर बाय विलेजेस, मार्केट मतलब मंडीज, है ना, जहां आप बेचोगे, फाइन, विद दिस वी एंड दिस आर्टिकल, ठीक है, नाउ बाकी सर विल कम एंड विल टेक द नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल, फाइन, समझ में आया चीजें, कुछ लिंक किया हमने, ठीक है, थैंक यू एवरीवन।
Hello everybody. Hello. Just wait for a second. Give me time to. Okay. So we'll start with. Am I audible to everybody? Those who are watching it online, am I audible? Okay. Okay, Mani. Okay. So let's go to the last page. Okay. GST and reform. Antim wala hoga. Okay. Move ahead on GST and reform. Right. So okay, first, are you guys, you have started just preparation or you are preparing since some time? Just started. What about you? Started. Okay. And what about other people here? Okay, Ganesh, I know you. Mani, okay. Ibrahim. Okay. Anybody here also on Zoom and on YouTube who have just started it? Vizavir, hello. How many of you have just started the preparation? I'm asking you just because if there are more people who are just starting preparation, we'll give some background, okay, and then we will enter into the detail of the topic. Okay, okay. So topic is GST and the reform of GST. Before that, let's have a brief idea about what is GST and why people are asking for reform. Any idea goods and services tax? Okay, is it a direct tax or indirect tax? Okay. What about you? This is direct tax or indirect tax? Direct tax. Okay. Okay. Ganesh is also saying direct. Yes. See, goods and this GST, goods and services tax, is an indirect tax. Okay. What is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax? Right, it's indirect tax goes indirectly, right? So let's say that this is you, and let's say this is government. Okay, so direct tax means this is direct. Okay, so income tax, you directly go to the government website, you enter your detail, you pay your taxes. Okay, there is no intermediary between that. Okay, in fact, even your father, your mother cannot pay on your behalf. It is so direct that if you are earning the income, only you can pay. Okay, so this is direct tax. Okay, so yes, income tax is example of direct tax. Corporate tax, if you are running a business and you are making profit, you will pay. So that is also direct tax. Okay. Indirect tax, there is an intermediary in between. And let's say you are going to a restaurant for dinner, you are paying some tax. Okay. So if dosa costs 100 rupees, you are paying say 118 rupees. That 18 rupees is your indirect tax you are paying. But you are not paying to the government. You are not going to some website and paying 18 rupees separately to the government. Right. So this is indirect tax. Okay. Indirect tax, we have an intermediary. Matlab, for example, shops. Okay, so where you are buying, you are paying that person. Now it's a shopkeeper's duty to pay it to the government. Okay, so this is indirect tax. GST is a indirect tax. Okay, goods and services tax is an indirect tax. Before GST came only in 2017. Before that, in India, there was no GST. But before GST, okay, let me first ask you, let's say that there are multiple indirect taxes. Whatever be the name, right now I am not writing name, just explaining to you the theory. So there are multiple taxes. Say this is 5% indirect tax, 5% tax, 5% tax, 5% tax. This is a scheme A. And then there is a scheme B, where all these 1, 2, 3, 4, all these 4 taxes have been replaced by one tax. And that is, let's say, tax. Okay, just say tax. And that tax is 20%. Okay, so in terms of if you add just percentage, it's same. Right? Earlier you had to pay 4 different taxes, each had 5% rate. Now you have to pay only one tax. In place of all these things, you have to pay only one tax. That is but at 20%. Right? Which one you will prefer? If you are a business person, which mode of taxation you would like, this one or this one? This one. Why? Okay. Ganesh is also saying single. Okay. Mani is also saying B. Ibrahim is also saying B. Right. Sarchit is right. Yes. About direct tax, Sarchit, yes, you are right. Okay. So yes, you will choose this one because it's easy to comply. It's easy to pay tax. Okay. Of course, this one also collects a little bit higher amount also. We'll see it later. But even if the amount is same in both the case, you will prefer कि भाई एक बार में पे करके खत्म करते हैं, ठीक है? 4 बार में पे कौन करना चाहता है? And the chance of defaulting also increases. If you have to pay 4 tax, maybe you will pay 3 tax, you will miss 1 tax. Okay. So even if you were not intentionally trying to not pay tax, just because there are so many taxes that you forgot to pay one, and then there will be tax case only. So this was pre-GST. In pre-GST, there were multiple indirect taxes. Even now there are many indirect taxes, but in pre-GST there were many more indirect taxes. What GST did, GST replaced many of the indirect taxes. And okay, so let's say that there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just hypothetically assuming if there were 7 indirect taxes before GST, what GST did? GST replaced 5 of it. It became GST. Okay. So now it's only GST and then 2 more taxes. Okay. That means what GST did? GST simplified the tax system. Okay. So you can even write in your notes, okay, the features of GST. Features of GST. GST simplified indirect tax system. This is very important. It is indirect tax system. By replacing multiple indirect taxes with one tax. Okay. Okay. And yes, and it is easy to implement as well, and easy to comply also. So it's easy to pay taxes. Improved ease of doing business. Investors will love this tax regime. Improved ease of doing business. Ease of doing business means if somebody wants to do business, it will be better, easier for them. Okay? Improved ease of doing business. So this is one feature of GST. Okay, everybody wrote it, because maybe after some time I will move on to something else. So feature number one is this. Okay, again I will just warn you that it does not mean that right now there is only GST and no other indirect taxes. Okay, some indirect taxes are still not included in GST, right? There are some taxes, like in our example, these taxes are not included in GST, but many more taxes are included. And the second is GST led to one nation, one tax. This is second feature. Okay, I'm just telling you some of the important features. Okay, again, there are many more features of GST. We'll go into that detail. It's a full one-day class. But just to discuss this article. So one nation, one tax. Before GST, what used to happen? Bihar had their own tax structure, indirect tax structure. Tamil Nadu have their own. Uttar Pradesh own. Okay? Karnataka have their own. Every state in India had their own tax structure. Okay? Because many indirect taxes, like say sales tax, value added tax, those were under the permit of state government. Okay, so the state legislature made laws on them, and it was very different. Okay, Devendra is saying sound is very low. Okay, let me check. Okay, is it better, Devendra? Okay, hope it would have improved, or I will try to speak more loudly. Okay, so it's a one, what GST did, GST made one nation, one tax. Okay, it said no. If every state have own tax laws, again it is very difficult for business person, right? Because if you have, say, a factory in Uttar Pradesh, you know how to pay taxes in Uttar Pradesh, you know what are the kind of taxes in Uttar Pradesh. Now you are trying to expand, you are planning to expand your business to Madhya Pradesh also. But then the moment you start operating in Madhya Pradesh, you came to know that, अरे यार यहाँ का तो अलग ही tax structure है, मतलब यहाँ कुछ अलग है. Now you have to hire somebody else who knows Madhya Pradesh का tax structure. It's very difficult. Okay, so in order to deal with that problem, GST said one nation, one tax. Okay, so it is easier to do business. Okay, it transformed India into single market. Okay. GST transformed India into a single market. Okay, so this is again second feature of GST. Okay, and okay, and the third feature is GST is a destination based tax. Okay, there are two things. GST is a destination based tax, and GST is a consumption based tax. When I say GST is a destination based tax, what does that mean? Like say there's a mobile phone being manufactured in Tamil Nadu, okay, and the mobile phone is sold in, say, Odisha. Which government will collect the tax? Odisha government will collect the tax, or Tamil Nadu government will collect the tax? Factory जो है वो Tamil Nadu में है. Mobile phone is manufactured in Tamil Nadu. But ultimately, who is buying that mobile phone? Someone in Odisha. Okay. So who will have the power to collect taxes? Right, money, you are right. Right. Sachit, you are also right, yes? Okay. A ratio between whom and whom? No. Okay. See, okay. See, GST is a destination-based tax. Okay. Before GST, what used to happen? Wherever production is happening, that state will collect tax. Okay. So if mobile phone is being manufactured in Tamil Nadu government will collect tax. That is before GST. Okay. After GST, GST is a destination-based tax. That means the tax goes to, GST goes to tax will be collected by the state where it is consumed, where it is the destination, the final destination. It means Odisha government will collect the tax. Okay. Of course, the GST itself will be divided between center and state. That I will come later. Okay. But here we have to understand this is a feature. GST is a destination-based tax. Okay. That's why when GST was being implemented, there was lots of debate. We know that in India there are some states who are major producers, like states like Tamil Nadu, states like Karnataka, states like Maharashtra, Gujarat. These are major producer states. But the population is high where? It's Bihar, it's Uttar Pradesh, okay, Bengal, West Bengal, so it's relatively less. Okay. So consumption, major consumption is happening in Eastern and Northern India. And the production is happening in Southern and Western India. So states in Southern and Western India were protesting. We will lose on taxes because earlier they used to collect, but now the consumer state. Okay. So GST is a destination-based tax. Okay. And the second is GST is a consumption-based tax. Okay. Consumption-based tax means whoever will consume will pay tax. Okay. Let's say I am the shopkeeper. I am selling something. You are buying it. So ultimately you have to pay tax. Right. So if say I am selling this the cost of this is 100 rupees and the GST on this is 10 rupees. Okay. So its cost is 110 rupees including taxes. This 10 rupee extra have to be paid by you. Okay. You will pay me 110 rupees. From that 110 rupees, I will pay 10 rupees to the government. Right. So GST is a consumption-based tax, ultimately paid by consumer. All these facts are very important for both prelims and mains. Okay. Features of GST can be asked in mains, and which of the following are features of GST that can be asked in prelims examination. So you have to be very clear about important features. Okay. So GST is a destination-based tax and consumption-based tax. Another point related to GST is, okay, GST have dual tax structure. Just now somebody was giving hint regarding this. Okay. GST has dual tax structure. That means there is CGST, central wala, and then there is SGST, state wala. This is also featured. Okay, that GST is. Of course, there is one more, that is interstate. Yeah. But fundamentally, GST has two types. Okay, CGST, SGST. CGST is collected by central government. SGST is collected by state government. Okay. Which one will have higher rate, CGST or SGST? If you are going to a restaurant and you are paying 18% GST, which government will get more, central government or state government? Okay, what about you? Okay, 50-50. Okay, yes, Ganesh and Mani, you guys are right. Sarma, can you say something? You have anything to add? Okay, yes, see, it's equally divided. Okay, so shared equally. So whenever you are paying 18 rupees on dosa, 9 rupees is going to central government and another 9 rupees is going to a state government. So if you will see bill, whenever you are going to a restaurant or maybe you are buying anything, you are getting bill for that. Just look at the bottom where they are adding the GST. You will see 9% SGST, 9% CGST. Okay, it's clearly mentioned. States, they have their own complaint, of course, that they think that they are not getting enough finances. So they are making demands, but right now this is the structure. Okay. कि whatever GST is being collected, 50% is going to center, 50% is going to state. Every product is being divided like that, equal. Okay, and then interstate GST is also there. Means again the example we took, that if something is produced in say Tamil Nadu and being sold in Odisha, who will collect tax? Okay, and in their state, their central government collects tax and then shares between central government and the destination state. Okay, so if mobile phone made in Tamil Nadu is sold in Odisha, central government will collect the tax and will give 50% to Odisha, 50% they will keep. Okay. Not government, but yeah, somebody who is selling it in Odisha. Ah, that will be, the collection, in case of interstate transfer, central government collects GST and then divides it between central government and the consumer state. Okay. Okay, so that is in that case it is interstate GSTs. Okay, clear? Okay. Okay. Ibrahim is saying why IGST when we have SGST? Well, the problem is in interstate, there is this problem that maybe it cannot, maybe it will not go to Odisha, it will go to somewhere else. Okay, so there is always this challenge. It's a better case. Someone who is all over India, central government, they will do that. And then they will just distribute, just for simplification process. Okay. Okay. So these are some of the features. Okay. Dual tax structure. And then in GST, there is another advantage. That is input tax credit. Okay. Input tax credit, see, generally what happens if you are a businessman? If you are a businessman, then you are buying some inputs and then you are selling the output, right? It's not like you are producing something out of thin air. आप कुछ खरीद रहे हो, उसको transform कर रहे हो, okay? When you are buying that input, you also have to pay GST, okay? So it's like, let's say that this is business. Okay, there is something which costs 100 rupees. Okay, GST rate is, let's say 12% GST. Okay, so 100 rupees means business will pay how much? 100 plus 12, 112 rupees, right? Business will pay this. Now let's say business after buying this input, let's say this input is atta, flour. Okay, businessman made biscuit and then sold it. Okay, the price of biscuit was how much? 200 rupees, right? And then businessman sold it, and on biscuit GST is, let's say again 12%. So consumer will pay how much to the business? It's 12% on 200, right? So consumer will pay RS 200 plus 24 to 24, right? Clear? Now, problem is businessman is paying 12 rupees GST here, okay? But what we saw, GST has to be paid by whom? Final consumer, okay? So this 12 rupees, ideally businessman should not have to pay any GST. But here we can see that businessman is paying 12 rupees GST. Okay. So what will happen? Government have made input tax credit. Input tax credit means that whatever businessman is paying on input, whatever tax businessman is paying on input, they will get it back when they will return this 24 rupee to the government. That means when businessman got 24 rupees as GST from consumer, what businessman will do? Businessman will keep 12 rupees for itself and will pay government 12 rupees only. Okay, that means, of course, technically it is different, but ultimately this is what is happening. So this is input tax credit. Input tax credit means businessmen are allowed to get back the taxes they paid on inputs. Okay, so in that way businessmen don't have to pay GST, okay, as long as they are selling it to somebody. Clear? So these are some of the important features. There are many more. Okay, and ultimately one more is everything is online. Okay, so online ecosystem, there is GST network. So this is a software, mega software. So you can pay everything by going to this GST network. You have to register there and then you can pay everything there. Okay, that means the process of paying taxes have become very easy. Once you know how to operate this, you can pay it. Okay, and it's very easy to track. Okay, so this is this. So this is, now you know the basic idea of GST. Okay, and how GST is helpful. Okay, GST also stops cascading of taxes. Okay, but we'll not go into that there. Now let's see the challenges and the reforms. We'll see this article here. Is it visible? Okay, the question is, what they will ask you in question, one thought feature of GST, which you know. Okay, GST came in 2017, you all know. Which Constitution Amendment Act? Which Constitution Amendment Act? GST came via constitutional amendment. It was not simple act. Okay, constitutional amendment. कौन सा था? Okay, 101st. Right. Ganesh, Mani, Anu. Yes, you guys are right. 101st Constitution Amendment Act. ठीक है? Okay. So after that there were some problems. Now people are demanding for reform. So from GST, mainly two type of questions can be expected. One, features of GST. Another, what steps should be taken to reform GST. This article is about reform of GST. Clear? Okay. Give me a second, let me just. Okay. And this article talks about some of the reforms. This article also do not talk about all the reforms. 3-4 reforms this article is talking about. So later I will dictate you all other reforms. Okay. It's a very important theme. Okay. See, okay, last page, those who are watching on YouTube, you can download it from the chat. Okay, it's pinned in the chat. Document is pinned in the chat. You can download it there. Okay, let's have a look at it. GST and reform. See, the first, this big paragraph, you can ignore this complete big paragraph because it talks about lots of data, and all it says that earlier there was this apprehension that when GST will come, tax collection will reduce. Okay, so this was, zoom out a little bit. Okay, Ganesh, I don't want to touch this. इसको Is it visible better? Okay. Okay. Let me see. Check. नहीं, ये फिर नीचे का आने लगता है. Okay, ठीक है. Anyway, you all have this data, right? You all have this. Okay. So the first full article, first full paragraph, this full paragraph all it says is ki tax collection finally have picked up. Okay, now there is no challenge on that front. So those who were saying कि taxes नहीं मिलेगा, GST आने से taxes कम हो जाएगा, all those things are now times of past. Then the article makes the point that now that tax collection have stabilized, government should think about reforming the GST. Whatever flaws are there in the GST, government should reform that. Okay. It is therefore an opportunity. Okay. So the last line of first article. Okay. Okay. So it needs better adjustment. Okay. So last line of first article, first paragraph. However, broader worries about GST revenue being underwhelming, voiced by Union Finance Minister in late 2021 has now receded. Okay. So now there is no that danger ki nahi milega. So now there is time for reform. What reforms they are talking about? Okay. This is therefore an opportune time for council to take reform. Okay. आज ही हुआ होगा meeting. ठीक है. To make it a truly good and simple tax as originally envisaged. A GST, it should not be just goods and services. It should be good and simple tax. If you will reform it, how it will happen? Okay. So you can see, however, it is hoped that council will also find time for bigger things such as reviving the plan to rationalize GST's complex multi-tax structure. Okay, I think, yes, here I am talking about. Okay. However, it is hoped the council will also find time for bigger things such as reviving the plan to rationalize GST's complex multi-tax structure. What do we mean by complex multi-tax structure? You know that GST right now have 5 tax brackets. एक तो 0%. Okay, so some of the goods are already exempted. Okay, then GST, some goods and services are 5% GST, some are 12% GST, some are 18%, and some are 28%. Okay, so overall there are 5 brackets. If you remove exempted wala, there are 4 brackets. Okay, in GST. Now this 4 bracket becomes very complicated. Okay, because again, why GST came? GST came to make the structure very simple. But actually what is happening? Actually it is not able to simplify the things. Okay, so 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%, and before that is 0%. Okay, so it has multiple tax brackets. Again, multiple tax bracket again leads to complexity. Okay, and it again becomes very difficult for businessmen. Okay, so sometimes products are very closely related, like say cooked egg and then boiled egg. It's almost same. Okay, so at times it becomes very difficult कि किसको किस bracket में रखना है. Okay, and it leads to chances of corruption as well. So better is कि these many brackets should be reduced to less number of tax brackets. Okay, so maybe 3 tax brackets only. If this 5 or this 4 bracket will be reduced to 3, tax bracket will become more simple. Okay, so reform being asked is simplify tax bracket. Okay, so this is the reform they are asking. Okay, they are telling you that multiple rate structure should be reformed. Okay, and then there are things like maybe we can make it 8%, 15%, 18%. Okay, so again you don't have to remember this figure, but this you have to know. कि GST का 5%, 12%, 18%, 28% rate है. So it's a very complex structure. For people are asking to make it simple. Okay, so this is one tax reform they are asking. Okay, so tax reform number 1 was to simplify the tax rate, tax structure. Okay. Okay. then a new rate structure might also entail lower levies on items such as cement and insurance, for instance. So one requirement was to reduce number of tax bracket to make it simple. And another demand in reform is that people are saying that some essential goods are being put in higher tax bracket. So let's say if we talk about cement, cement is not luxury. If anybody have to make a home, cement is necessity. Okay, even government have various schemes to incentivize people to make their home. Okay, so 28% tax GST on cement, that is bit too much. Okay, because 28% is the highest tax bracket, and that is for luxury products. If you are going to say buy some very luxurious goods, then you have to pay 28%, and you are taxing cement also at 28%. Okay, so this is not right. Okay, so so second point is you have to rationalize tax rates of some essential product. Okay, second reform is you have to rationalize tax rates. Okay, then below that, a roadmap. Let me see. A roadmap is also needed to bring excluded items such as electricity, natural gas, petroleum product into GST net to ensure businesses can avail credit for these inputs. See, we have said that multiple taxes have been replaced by GST. Okay, but still there are some goods which are not included in GST. Can you guys give me example? What are those goods which are still outside GST? उस पर अभी भी GST नहीं लगता है, उस पर अभी भी कोई और दूसरा टैक्स लगता है. Okay, yes, alcohol. Alcohol is still outside GST. So center and state are living different. No, tobacco products are there, but alcohol, central government is imposing excise duty, and the state government is imposing value-added tax or sales tax, depending on which. Petroleum products, yes, some petroleum products are outside GST. So again, this is very important. Okay, so products, this is very important thing you have to remember. Products completely out of GST matlab not included in 101st Amendment Act. मतलब है ही नहीं, 101st Amendment Act में है ही नहीं, उसका नाम ही नहीं है, वो एकदम GST से completely बाहर है. Those products are alcohol for human production. Okay, you know that alcohol have multiple use. Alcohol is used for medicine, alcohol is used in beauty products, so there are lots of use of alcohol. But those alcohols are included in GST. If alcohol is used in beauty product, it is included. Okay, otherwise alcohol for human consumption is not included in GST. And then electricity. Okay, so these two products are completely out of 101st Amendment Act. इसका नाम ही नहीं है, ये बाहर है. ठीक है, इस पर GST लग. If government will have to impose GST on alcohol or electricity, then government will have to bring a new Amendment Act. Okay. Then there are some products which are included in GST Act, but still GST Council has not started to tax it under GST. Okay? This is a bit complicated. Okay, not complicated, for you it's easy. Okay, so there are some products about which it is written that GST can apply only if GST Council will say it should apply. Okay, so till now GST Council have not said that it should apply. Okay, so these products, what I am going to write now, these products are also outside GST. Okay, for all purposes, these products are also outside GST. So if it comes in exam whether these products are outside GST, yes, those products are also outside GST. What are those? Petrol, diesel, yes, natural gas, then crude oil, and then aviation turbine fuel, ATF. Okay. So these products are also outside GST. On these products also GST is not taxed. Okay, not levied. So these products are also levied. Tax is also being levied by state government and central government depending on what they want. Okay, so this is again important for prelims. Okay, see, important for prelims. One more point. It's not, these are petroleum products. You already know. You know there are some petroleum products which are included in GST, on which GST is already being applied. Can you name any such petroleum product? Any such petroleum product? Anybody? Anu, Mani, Himanshu? कोई ऐसा पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट है जिस पर कि जीएसटी लग रहा है? मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि सारे पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट्स पर जीएसटी नहीं लग रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है. Okay, so mainly you can say like say kerosene. Okay, so kerosene पे लग रहा है, LPG, the gas you use for cooking. Okay, so on those, naphtha. Okay, so on those products GST is being applied. Okay, so it's not like so if a statement will say GST is not applied on any of the petroleum products, that will be incorrect. Okay, any of them बोल रहा है कि किसी पर भी नहीं, तो फिर वो गलत हो जाएगा. केरोसिन पर, LPG पर लगता है. Okay, but these are the petroleum products जिस पे नहीं लगता है. Okay, so again this is the funda, and the reform, what they are asking is, what they are asking in reform. At last I will dictate you, don't worry, that okay. A roadmap is also needed to bring excluded items such as electricity, natural gas, petroleum products into GST to ensure businesses can avail credit for these inputs. Okay, so they are saying that these products should be brought to the GST. There are two arguments why these products should be included. One, so unless these products will be included in GST, businesses will not get input tax credit, right? Because input tax credit is a feature of GST. Input tax credit, those products which are not under GST, तो उस पर businesses को input tax credit नहीं मिलेगा. That's one thing. And the second thing is, once these products will be included in GST, then people think that tax on these products will come down, and then petrol, diesel, these things will become little bit cheaper. Because currently more than 50% of the price of diesel and petrol is taxes. Okay? Both central government and state government are implementing taxes on these products. Okay? And ultimately it's crossing 50%. Okay? So demand is कि भाई GST लगा दो, फिर दोनों अलग अलग नहीं लगाएंगे, the tax rate probably will come down. Okay? And because of this thing only, the central and state governments are a bit not sure, because if petroleum and petroleum products, electricity, if these things will come under GST, then the tax collection by the government will increase or decrease. It will decrease. So government is not sure. Okay, so this is one more reform. Okay, another reform it is talking about, along the easing compliance for smaller firms as promised in the Bharatiya Janata Party's election manifesto. there is room for simplifying the system for all businesses, including large ones, which are compelled to register in each state and face varying compliance dictates. Another thing is saying that GST was brought to make life of businessmen easy. But even now, bigger companies have to register separately for filing GST in different states. Okay, so I said that this also should be resolved. Let them register once on GST network, and it should be valid all over India. They should not have to register in every state separately. Okay, so this is one demand. Okay, so they have, in this article they have talked about only these three reforms. Then they say that not all of this can be discussed in one go. So yes, so it is most critical that council, which is usually expected to meet every quarter but has been convened just 6 times, resolve to meet more often. भैया एक बार में इतने प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं होंगे, तो बार बार मिलो और प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करो. Okay, so here we have seen only 2-3 points related to GST reform, but you need more points. Okay, in exam, if they will ask you question on GST reform, they will ask you to write, say, in 150 word or maybe 250 word. Okay, so you need at least 4-5 points about GST reforms. Okay, so you can quickly write. Okay, areas, and write it. Okay, areas of GST. Areas of reform in GST. See, GST जो है, GST comes under taxation. Okay, so or government budgeting. So file this when you are writing it and when you are saving it, file it in the folder which you made for government budgeting. Okay, we have already discussed in earlier classes that if you will not keep these things, organize these notes carefully, what will happen after 5-6 months, you will have these many notes. It will be all over the place. You will find it very difficult to revise. So in order to help you with that, you just have to divide economy, like say economy, in 8-9 divisions, which we talked about in earlier classes. Okay, one of that division is government budgeting. Okay, so put taxation GST in government budgeting वाला file. Okay, तो वो सब अलग-अलग फाइल में, या फिर अगर आप सॉफ्ट कॉपी नोट्स बना रहे हैं तो अलग-अलग फोल्डर में, just keep it like that, because what will happen then after 6 months you will have this arranged thing. Okay, in 6 months government budgeting क्या आया, इतना आया, ठीक है. Many things will get repeated. We are discussing GST reform now. Maybe after 2 months again there will be an article on GST reform. We will again talk. So you will see, अच्छा मेरे आर्टिकल में तो पहले से लिखा हुआ है. Okay? That way you will be able to track it, or else your life will become hell. ठीक है, कि हर जगह होगा, आपको पता ही नहीं चलेगा, एक ही आर्टिकल आप 10 बार कर रहे होंगे, तो टाइम का लॉस होगा. So it's very important. Areas of reform in GST, we have already talked. One, simplify tax rate. Okay, substitute 5 current slabs by 4 or 3 slabs. Okay, this is one. Second, include goods, services not included in GST okay, like electricity, alcohol, petroleum products, and why is this demand being made? This will reduce the cost. This will reduce cost for consumer. But this will reduce cost for consumer, yes, but this will also reduce tax collection. That's why government is not doing it. So this two reforms. Okay. Another reform is, you know that government is promising that we will give you input tax credit. Okay. But that input tax credit is delayed. So like say 3 months, 4 months, they are delaying the repayment of input tax credit. If you as a businessman have paid say 10 crore rupees as a input tax credit and government is returning you back after 1 year, you are losing money. Okay, your business will stop. You will not get money to invest. Okay, so this is another point, that you have to reduce delay in payment of input tax credit. Okay, so this is third point of reform. Okay. Okay. Another problem with GST right now is many rates have inverted tax credit problem. First, let me tell you what is inverted tax credit. Anybody know what is inverted tax credit? या inverted tax structure, इसका मतलब क्या होता है? Or you can, anybody would like to guess inverted duty structure? Inverted. This article do not talk about this problem of GST, okay? But this is one of the problem. Inverted duty structure. What does it mean? Inverted. Anybody watching online would like to say? Inverted duty structure. See, let's say कि this is India. Let's say this is USA. Okay? Let's say not USA, let's say Bangladesh. That will make example more realistic. Okay? Here, import duty on say silk yarn is say 10%. Import duty on silk shirt is 5%. Okay. Silk yarn, you all know what does it mean? Silk yarn is just silk, okay, put in a raw silk. Okay, so this is input. आप silk yarn तो पहनोगे नहीं. You will buy silk. The producer will buy silk yarn and make it into a shirt, right? So silk yarn is input, and silk shirt is final product. Now imagine yourself as a producer. You are a producer. Okay? Let's say कोई भी company का नाम सोच लो, Grasim, कोई भी company. You are a producer in India. You have two options. One, you import silk yarn from Bangladesh and then make shirt and sell it in the market. One option. You have one more option. Directly import silk shirt. Which one you will prefer? Second, right? Why? Because import duty on silk shirt is less, right? Problem is, so because of that, what will happen? Manufacturing in India will increase or decrease? Manufacturing in India will decrease, right? Because you are buying finished products from foreign countries. You are not buying raw material from finished, because input duty on raw material is high than this. So invert, and this is bad, right? You all agree? We want manufacturing to happen in India. We want companies, if India do not produce enough silk yarn, we want companies to import silk yarn from foreign country, make shirt here in India. Because that way, you will generate more employment in India, right? Clear? So this type of input duty structure where tax on raw material is, if tax on input is more than tax on final product, okay, tax, for example, import duty. If import duty on inputs is more than import duty on final product, manufacturing process will suffer. Will reduce because of increase in import of final goods. ठीक है, इसी को खरीद लेगा, and this is harmful. Okay, this is not right for India. Problem is in GST, some of the goods have this inverted duty structure. For example, if we talk about fertilizers, okay, so what's happening? So what's happening? That import duty on fertilizer is 5%, but import duty on, say, ammonia is 18%. Okay. Now fertilizer making need ammonia. If fertilizer is, say, urea, then it needs ammonia. So on ammonia import duty is 18%, and on fertilizer import duty is 5%. So people will not make ammonia in India. They will buy ammonia from abroad because duty is less. So one of the reforms GST requires to correct this inverted duty structure, right? So we have written these points. Next, so 1, 2, 3, next point you can write. If you want to write inverted duty structure, you write it, okay? This is very, very important, okay? This can be asked anytime, okay? And have loose sheet, or if you are writing on iPad or something, write on that. Otherwise, write on loose sheet, okay, so that you can arrange. Otherwise, what will happen? Later on, it will become very difficult for you, okay? Okay. So, yeah, duty structure हो गया था, ये वाला हो गया था. Okay, we are. नहीं, इनको टैक्स क्रेडिट मिलेगा, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज ओवरऑल प्रोडक्ट का टैक्स बढ़ गया. मतलब यस, टैक्स अल्टीमेटली विल बी पेड बाय कंज्यूमर, ठीक है, अल्टीमेटली बिजनेसमैन को पे नहीं करना, अल्टीमेटली कंज्यूमर को पे करना है. बट द डिमांड विल इंक्रीज ओनली इफ द प्रोडक्ट इज चीप. अगर प्रोडक्ट, लेट्स से there are two producers, producer A, producer B. Producer A is buying input, producer B is just buying clothes and then selling it in the market. So you as a consumer will buy whoever is selling you cheap. If quality is same, you will buy cheap product. So you will buy from the producer who is importing clothes. Okay, so that way they will suffer. Okay. Okay. So next point is reverse inverted duty structure. Okay. And then there is another problem with GST. When GST was made, it was said that there will be a GST appellate council. Appellate council means if there is some dispute, then there is a dispute redressal mechanism. When dispute redressal mechanism will give a verdict, then you will have option. You can either accept that verdict or you can go to appellate authority. Okay, that appellate authority is final, right? Problem is 2017 में GST आया. Till now, government have not constituted GST appellate council. Okay, so because of that, many disputes related to GST continues to remain. अभी भी जो है वो क्योंकि वो final जो authority है, that authority is not there. Okay, so this is another point. Okay, GST appellate tribunal. Okay, quickly constitute GST appellate tribunal. This will help in faster resolution of disputes. If you are a business person, you will not want many disputes. You want कि business चलता रहे, जहाँ भी dispute आया, quickly decision आ जाए, बात आगे बढ़े. Okay, if you are always caught up in disputes with the government or with everybody, you will be in big trouble. So this is another point. Okay, yes. So these are some of the points where GST Council should think and should take the decision. Okay, अब तक रिजल्ट आ गया होगा. GST Council आज ही मीटिंग था, तो आज शाम तक पता चल जाएगा कि इसमें से कुछ पर कुछ किया कि नहीं किया, तो ये पॉइंट्स आपके पास रहेगा. ठीक है, so this was it about GST reform. Okay, तो features of GST and the reforms, these two things you must remember. Then come to cost of inequality. There is an article called cost of inequality. Just उससे पहले वाला आर्टिकल है. Okay, cost of inequality. This article talks about gender inequality in India. Okay, and the consequences of gender inequality, this article talks about. Okay, see the title, what India's 129 rank in global gender gap index means. From here, what type of questions can be asked? One तो कि simple question कि gender inequality, how it is harmful, why people criticize gender inequality. Okay, they have discussed only one point related to that, but in general, tell me, gender inequality criticism क्या है? Why do you think there should be gender equality? Why do you think there should be parity? Male, female, transgender, third gender, everything. Why there should be parity? What are the points? Economic growth, yes. Women discrimination, women half of population, yes. Political upliftment, yes. Hamper utilization of human capital, yes. Sarma, very good. So yes. See, the most powerful thing is gender equality. It's just because it's obvious. They say that it's an ethical point of view. See, male and female both are human. So ethically there should be equality. Okay, forget about economics and everything else. The first point is just it is plain injustice if it is not so. Okay, so that's ethical concern. Okay, so criticism one is so there is ethical concern. Okay, so it is injustice, okay, against basic human rights Okay, in context of India, it is against fundamental rights as well. So because in India we have fundamental right, male, female, everybody is equal. Okay, so if there is inequality, then it is this. So this is criticism of gender inequality. This is ethical concern. We know that there are many forms of inequality, gender inequality in India, be it related to educational achievements, now that is declining faster. Okay, related to property rights. Okay, so there is a still vast amount of property is held by male only. Okay, it's there, it's in male's name, ownership rights. Okay, in political representation, in fact, in this Lok Sabha, this is 18th Lok Sabha, right? This is 18th Lok Sabha. So number of female MPs, percentage of female MPs from 17th Lok Sabha to 18th Lok Sabha, has it increased or decreased? Increased? Decreased. Okay, anybody else would like to say something? In this Lok Sabha, 18th Lok Sabha, if you will compare it with 17th Lok Sabha, the percentage representation of female in Lok Sabha have increased or decreased? Any idea about percentage? Roughly, just take a guess. What percentage of MPs in 18th Lok Sabha are female? Less than what percent? 45. 45 is big amount. Okay, even in even the reservation is giving, reservation is talking about 33%. Okay. Okay, around money is saying 18 to 20%. 2/3 of agriculture workforce, only 14% ownership right. Yes, yes. Satrit, you are giving good points. Yes, true. Okay, so it's about 13%. Okay, so in 18th Lok Sabha, maybe somewhere in bracket you can write. Okay, in political, or we will talk later. Okay, so in 18th Lok Sabha, about 13.5 something, 13.4 or something percent is women. In 17th Lok Sabha, it was 14 point something. Okay, so it was not like in 14th Lok Sabha, in 17th Lok Sabha there were 50% women. Okay, in 17th Lok Sabha already there were only about 14 point something percent, but it has further declined in 18th Lok Sabha. Okay, so criticism one is ethical concern. Okay, another concern is economic. That is there is an opportunity being wasted. Okay, if women will go to colleges, if women will go to workforce, so there will be more people trying in a research. Maybe there will be more research outputs. Okay, maybe there are more hands in factories. Okay, so more people trying means more chance of success, more chance of increased economic output. Okay, so second point of gender inequality is that it leads to wastage of opportunity. Okay, so yes, so that's another thing, that people are not, less number of working hands. Okay, less human resource. You can keep on writing, less number of doctors, less number of engineers, less number of scientists. Okay, so if everybody, male and female, everybody will get opportunity, maybe India will get more number of all these professionals. So India will grow faster. Okay. So criticism, gender inequality, these two things. Another point, and this is not just for gender inequality. Whenever there is a big inequality, it will have some adverse health impact, right? So adverse health impact means there will be a stress. Like say if there is a male and female, both went to same college, okay, both were almost equal in academic performances, everything was same. Female also wanted to do very good. But then after 5-6 years, he says that her male counterpart is doing very well, while the female, just because she is a female, she is not doing that well, or she is not even in workforce. that female may feel bad and it may lead to stress, mental health related issues. Okay, so this is another big challenge. And again, as I said, this is not just in gender thing. Okay, if you see in caste thing, okay, if there are people from two castes and both were equally good, and if somebody is not able to go to places just because of his or her caste, then again that person will feel bad. Same about class. If there is a rich guy, there is a poor guy, both went to same school, maybe the poor guy was getting better marks in school, but just because their family or his or her family could not afford to send him to a good college, that poor guy dropped out and could not make use of his potential. That poor guy will feel bad. Okay, this will again lead to all sorts of mental health related issues. Okay, so gender inequality also lead to increase in stress, mental health related challenges. You can see that we are writing diverse points. Okay, this is one of the things, particularly those who are just starting the preparation. You should always remember that in the exam, if you will write diverse point, you will be divided. If you will write, say, why criticism of gender inequality, you will write 4 points. All 4 points are related to economy only. Ghat raha hai, बढ़ जाता, whatever. Okay. So that means what it will tell to the examiner, that yes, you understand economy angle very well, but as a generalist, you are trying to become an IAS officer. IAS officer is not a specialist. Okay, IAS officer is expected to see 360 degree of the world. Okay, diverse challenges. So you have to give diverse points. So like say here one is ethical point, one is economic point. Okay, another is stress related, so this is a health related thing. And gender inequality again also leads to social conflicts. Okay, if there will be, and again not just gender inequality, any inequality will lead to conflict, social conflict. The moment one section of society will think that that section of society is being discriminated, then sometime they will fight back. Okay, so there have been women-led movements. Okay, women are coming on road. Okay, so in India also we have a tradition of women-led movements, but in Western countries it's more so. Okay, so that will again lead to disruption, social unrest, and all kind of things. Okay, so this is another challenge. The cost of inequality, criticism of gender inequality, it leads to social unrest. So these are some of the points why gender inequality is bad. Okay, now let's come back to the article. Okay, so the title is what India's 129 rank in Global Gender Gap Index means. Who releases Global Gender Gap Index? Anybody would like to say? Global Gender Gap Index. UPSC loves to ask about reports and indexes. Okay, this time they have not asked it, but we will see previous year question. Every now and then you will see they will ask ये report कौन release करता है. Okay, or तो this is this type of thing UPSC loves. Global Gender Gap Index. It is released by Sachrit, Ganesh, Mani, Ibrahim. Anybody would say? Okay, this organization who releases it, is it an Indian organization or is it an international organization? International, yes. Yes, Sachrit, you are right. Yes, Mani, you are also right. Okay, so Global Gender Gap Index, it is released by World Economic Forum. Write it down. Released by World Economic Forum. Okay, World Economic Forum is it is not a government organization. Okay, It is a not-for-profit organization. It is not a government organization. Okay, so it is released by World Economic Forum, WEF. Yeah? And this is Global Gender Gap Index. There is one more related index, Global Gender Inequality Index. Okay, any idea who releases that? Gender Inequality Index. Gender Inequality Index. Who releases this? This article is about global gender gap index. Who releases Gender Inequality Index? Yes, you are right, Mani. So in exam you can get confused, okay, because both is related to gender inequality, but still both are released by different bodies. So Gender Gap Index is World Economic Forum and Gender Inequality Index is UNDP. Okay. So yeah. Okay, UNDP, Gender Inequality Index. So write this point, it's very important. Since this article is about Global Gender Gap Index, we will talk a bit about Global Gender Gap Index and then we will see what this article says. Then we will go through this article. Okay, but before going through this article, you should know about Global Gender Gap Index. Okay, here Global Gender Gap Index here have 0 to 1. This index have the number 0 to 1. It can be 0.5, 0.8, 0.9, 0.2. It cannot be 1.1. Right? Its number is between 0 and 1. And 1 means perfect gender gap. Sorry, 0 means perfect gender gap. Okay, there's a big gender gap. Okay, male, everything is with male, nothing is with female. Okay, it's complete. And Gender Gap Index 1 means no gender gap. Okay, means everything is equally shared, everything, all opportunities are equally shared. Okay. What parameters are used to find this gender gap index? If you are the researcher who is making such an index, then what kind of parameters you will note? If you have to find out whether in a society gender gap is more or less, what kind of things you will look at, what kind of data you will look at. And feel free to take a guess, okay? Particularly those who are starting the preparation, don't worry too much, take a guess. You can be wrong, it's okay. Health, okay. Political inclusiveness, okay, what does that mean? Okay, that's right, that's right. How many are female parliamentarians? What percentage of female are ministers? Okay, that's right. Economic independence of individual, representation in government, representation in workforce. Yes, Ganesh. Sachrit is saying health indicator, education parameters. Yes, you guys are broadly right. Okay, education mein. Yes, yes. In fact, this article, okay, if you will go to, let me start this. If you will go to second part of this article, I'll come back later on first. Economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, second para. Okay. Economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment. Okay. So these are the parameters which are used, and you guys have already said it. Okay. So economic means labor force participation rate. For example, in labor force, what is labor force participation rate for women and what is labor force participation rate for men. Okay, more will be the gap between labor force participation rate of male and female, more is the gender gap. In India, you have any idea what is female labor force participation rate? Labor force participation rate, briefly, it just means that, or yes, out of total female who are in working age means 15 above. Okay, so out of total female in working age, what percentage of female are in labor force? Means either they are working or they are searching for job. Okay, yes, Ganesh, it's around 36-37%. Okay, so economic parameter, you see, female labor force, labor force participation rate. Then in economic, they say wage gap, that if male and female both are doing same kind of job, then is there a difference? If male becomes an IAS officer, female becomes IAS officer, will their salary be different? Generally, it does not happen in formal setup, means particularly in government like this. Okay, but in real life, when you go to private sector, it does happen that maybe both male and female are working in the same capacity, both are doing same work, but male is getting higher salary. Okay, so this kind of thing do happen. So economic angle, when you say this, they check labor force participation rate, they check wage gap. Okay, in physical work it differs, yes, not just in physical work. Okay, in mental work also it does differ. Okay, it has been proved time and again. Okay, then managerial position. It is often seen that at the entry level now, at the entry level, gender ratio is more healthy. That just after college, both male and female are entering into office. Okay, and their ratio is more healthy, because in college ratio is now more healthy. Okay, if you go back 20 years, then in college there used to be lesser number of females, but now male and female ratio in education at least is almost same. Okay, so but when it comes to higher position, when it comes to managerial position, still there are more male, many more male in comparison to female. Okay, so these are just some of the parameters. These are the economic ways. Okay, then health and survival, and note these things. Okay, UPSC have earlier asked not global gender gap parameters. I think particularly UPSC have asked about hunger index ka parameter, on what they are based. Okay, or human development index ke parameters. Okay, so UPSC can ask you in prelims examination ki what are the parameters on which it is based. So economic, second is health and survival. In health and survival, they will look for sex ratio. Okay, ki male and female, what is the sex ratio? Okay, what is the healthy sex ratio in male and female per 1,000 male? How many female in naturally nature produces? Generally, just take a guess. No. In general, in human, if there is no artificial intervention, like there is no female foeticide, no such things are happening, then in general it's around, okay, there is about 960 around. Okay, 960 around. Okay, it varies depending on researcher, about 960 female per 1,000 male. Okay, that is evolutionary. So even if there will be everything fine, it will be 960 female per 1,000 male. Okay, but if it's less than that, that means there is a gender gap. So health and survival, sex ratio is checked, and then the second thing which is checked in health and survival is life expectancy. life expectancy at birth. That when a male child and a female child is taking birth, what is the expectancy? What is their life expectancy? How long they are expected to live? So that is parameter used. One was economic, parameter 2 was health and survival. Okay. Third was educational. Attainments, okay, how they are doing it. That is also used to construct gender gap index. And in educational attainments, again, two things are noticed. One is literacy rate. Male ka literacy rate kitna hai, female ka literacy rate kitna hai. Okay, that they see. And then another is enrollment rate in primary, secondary and tertiary level of the education. In primary मेल फीमेल का रेशियो क्या है एनरोलमेंट का, सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन में क्या है, टर्सरी मतलब हायर एजुकेशन में क्या है. ओके, सो इट्स जनरली सीन दैट इन प्राइमरी एजुकेशन मेल फीमेल रेशियो इज ऑलमोस्ट नेक टू नेक. In lower classes of school it's 100%. Okay, as the age increases, as people goes to secondary, more number of female drops out, particularly in rural areas. More number of females drop out. And then when it comes to higher education, again more number of females drop out. Okay, so education attainment, gender gap index checks education attainment, and here we have literacy rate and enrollment rate in primary, secondary and tertiary level. Okay. Global gender gap uses 4 things. So we have economic, we have health, we have education, and we have fourth is what? Political. Okay, so fourth number is political. Okay, so what they exactly say in, okay, political empowerment. Okay, so that is ratio of male and female parliamentarians ministers. Okay. So all these things are related to global gender gap index. Okay, so global gender gap index talks about all these things. Okay, so note this is very important for prelims. Now let's see what this article says. Okay, now we are moving back to the article. So open the article, everybody, and now let's quickly see. Okay, cost of inequality. What India's 129 rank in global gender gap index means. Now we are reading it, first para, the 2024 edition. Okay, the 2024 okay. Yes, the 2024 edition of the Global Gender Gap Index places India at 129 out of 146 countries. Okay, those who are watching on YouTube, you can download this article from the chat. Okay, it's pinned there. The 2024 edition of Global Gender Gap Index places India at 129 out of 146 countries. Means हमारी situation बहुत ही खराब है भाई. मतलब 146 countries में हम 129th position पर हैं. ठीक है? This puts India at the 18th position from the bottom. मतलब पूरे देश में जितने देश पार्टिसिपेट किए हम नीचे से 18th पोजीशन पर है. ठीक है, ऊपर से नहीं है. Okay. 2021 में इंडिया वाज एट 17th पोजीशन फ्रॉम द बॉटम. ठीक है, तो पहले 17th पर थे, अब 18th पर है बॉटम से. ओके, तो वी कैन सेलिब्रेट दैट वी हैव इम्प्रूव्ड, बट बाय ओनली 1 point. Okay, so this is no occasion for celebration. Okay. Thus, overall, India's ranking has remained in the bottom 20 over years. Okay, so over many years, India's okay, okay, over many years, India's ranking have remained in the bottom 20. Like all indices, Global Gender Gap Index, first introduced in 2006, is a precise measure. It is a combination of 4 different sub-indices. This is very important. Okay, we just talked about those 4 indices. Okay, economic participation and opportunity 1, educational attainment 2, health and survival 3, political empowerment 4. Okay, each summarizing multiple indicators. ठीक है, इस सब के अंदर में और भी बहुत सारे indicators हैं which we just talked about. Okay, every indicator have a multiple sub indicators. The index lies between 0 and 1, with 1 denoting complete parity. Means अगर gender gap index 1 बोल रहा है, that means सब चंगा से, ठीक है, सब कुछ ठीक है, male female there is no gap. Okay, it is important to note that this index focuses on gender gap. That is, the focus is on position of women relative to men rather than their absolute position. So this article, this index talks about the difference between male and female. If India's position in gender gap index has not improved, it does not mean that women's position have not improved. Okay, it means relative to men, their position have not improved. So maybe women's position have also improved, but men's position have also improved. So both position of both have improved, but overall when we say women's position have not improved. Okay, so that is that. That's what they are telling. Okay, now third para. Okay, it should not be seen as comprehensive treaty on gender equality, but as a useful pointer or a highlighter of key summary statistics that can be reliably measured and tracked. Again, the article is warning you कि ये जो अभी बात हो रहा है, you should take it just as a useful pointer, because somebody may say कि why ownership in property is not here in as one of the parameter. That is also one of the very important parameter. So this gender gap index do not take into account all the parameters, okay, which can show level of inequality. This is just showing you some of the parameters. Okay, that's that. And so it is, so the author is telling you that take it just as a useful pointer. Okay, fourth para is not useful for us. Fifth para we are coming. Okay, we are coming directly to fifth para. Fifth para means yahan wala. 2024 report shows that. Okay, this here. The 2024 report shows that on health and survival score, India's value is at 0.951, which means that 95.1% of male-female gap has been closed. Okay, so on the health and survival count, gender gap between male and female is very less in India. Okay, so more than 95% of the gap between male and female has been closed in India when it comes to health and survival. But if you will see life expectancy, then generally females have higher life expectancy in comparison to male. Okay, gender ratio is also improving now. Okay, so because of those things, 95% of gender gap in health and survival have been bridged, which is a very good thing. Okay, similarly, in educational attainments, 96.4% of gap has been closed. Okay, so when you talk about educational attainments, who is going to school, who is going to college, okay, whether access to education is given to both genders equally or not, There also in India 96.4% of the gap has been closed. Okay, कि male and female now are having more equal opportunity for education. Okay, so these are positive points. Okay, but still India has done well on these indicators, but since several other countries have done better, India is at 112nd position in educational ranking and 142nd position in health ranking. So India have done very good. More than 95% gap have been closed in both education and health. लेकिन इतना होने के बाद भी इंडिया की रैंकिंग जो है वो एजुकेशन में 112 है और हेल्थ में 142 है. Why it is so? Because this is a relative ranking. Okay, India have closed 96% gap. Other countries have closed 98% gap. Okay, so India, no doubt, position have improved in education and health, but other countries are doing better. So we are doing good. Congratulations, but we should do better. Okay, so this is about health and education. Now we are coming to main issues. Okay, the economic participation sub-index. Okay, we have seen there was one parameter that was related to economic. In economic, what things were there? In economic, we have seen there were workforce participation. Okay, there was wage gap, managerial position. There our position have not improved much. Okay, so when it comes to education, women are doing almost as good as male. Okay, but when it comes to economic performances, they are not been given equal opportunity. तो ये एक चैलेंज है. ठीक है, यहाँ पर आपको देखना है द इकोनॉमिक पार्टिसिपेशन सब इंडेक्स इज बेस्ड ऑन जेंडर गैप इन लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन, share in managerial position, wage gap, wage parity. On this, okay, on this, India's score at 39.8% places it at 142nd position among 146 countries. Okay, so on economic participation sub-index, only 39.8% gap has been filled. Means almost there is 60% gap between male and female when it comes to economic participation, and that is a big concern. And that's why India's rank in economic participation is 142nd among 146 countries. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर हमारा प्रॉब्लम नंबर 1 है. ठीक है, तो हमारा एजुकेशन में ठीक है, हमारा हेल्थ में ठीक है, मतलब of course it needs improvement, but we are doing good. But in economic participation it is bad. Okay, while this is an improvement since 2021 when it was 32%, it is very low in absolute term and is lower than 212 score of 46%. Okay, so our economic participation sub-index, if we compare it with 2021, we have improved. But if we compare it with 2012, our score have came down. In 2012, our score was 46, and now it is 39 point something. Okay, so that is a big concern. To put this score in perspective, हम देखें कि हम दूसरे कंट्रीज के कंपैरिजन में कैसा कर रहे हैं. ओके, अल्टीमेटली हाउ वी आर डूइंग इट इन कंपैरिजन टू अदर कंट्रीज. कंट्रीज विथ लोएस्ट लेवल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक पैरिटीज आर बांग्लादेश, उनका 31% है, सूडान 33% है, ईरान 34%, पाकिस्तान 36%, and then we have India 39%. So you can see that we are competing with which countries? We don't want to compare with Sudan and Pakistan, right? We want to compete with countries who are doing much better than us. Okay, so that is one big challenge. In political participation, okay, page change karke you see. Okay, in political participation, even though India has closed only 25.1% of the gap, its global rank is 65. Okay, now this is big problem. You can see, we saw in health, India had closed more than 95% gap, and still it was very, still India's rank was bad. In health, India's rank was 142nd. Okay, even though we have closed 95% gap between male and female, still India's rank was 142nd. That means world was doing better in comparison to India. But if we see political participation, okay, if we see political participation, India has closed only 25% of the gap, but still India's rank is best. India's rank is 65. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? What does it say? World is also doing bad. When it comes to political participation, it's not just that India is doing bad, world is equally doing bad. Okay, that's why in spite of performing bad, मतलब आपके जो है क्लास में 10 नंबर आए फिर भी आप टॉप मार गए, इसका मतलब ये है कि बाकी दो है वो तो आपसे भी उनका हाथ जोड़ने लायक हालत है. ठीक है, तो ये सेम इज अबाउट पॉलिटिकल पार्टिसिपेशन हियर. ओके, तो ये बहुत ही क्लियर है कि इन पॉलिटिकल पार्टिसिपेशन this reflects the fact that while the rest of the world has made significant towards a stride towards gender inequality in economic, education and health, global progress on gender equality in political participation remains low. तो चाहे जो भी हो जाए, political participation overall ही low है. We should note that India's position was 51 in 2001 with a value of 27.6%. implying that India's score has worsened over the last 2 years. ठीक है, तो इंडिया का पोजीशन लास्ट 2 ईयर में घटा है. ठीक है, 2021 में इंडियाज स्कोर वाज 27.6, इंडियाज रैंक वाज 51, नाउ इंडियाज रैंक इज 65. ओके, दैट मीन्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ पॉलिटिकल पार्टिसिपेशन वी आर डूइंग बैड देन आवर ओन पास्ट. ठीक है, वी हैव टू कंपेयर विथ आवरसेल्फ, हम अच्छा नहीं कर रहे. सो 2 पैरामीटर्स, economic parameter, political parameter, we are not at all doing good. Okay, the report shows that India and its immediate neighbor South Asia as a region ranks 7th out of 8th region in the world. अगर हमको ऐसे ही sadistic pleasure चाहिए तो हम ये कह सकते हैं हमारा जो पूरा रीजन है, पूरे रीजन की ही हालत खराब है. हमारा जो पूरा साउथ एशियन रीजन है, जो चाहे इंडिया हो गया, चाहे बांग्लादेश हो गया, चाहे श्रीलंका हो गया, इधर पाकिस्तान हो गया, नेपाल हो गया, भूटान हो गया, तो जेंडर गैप इंडेक्स में ऑल ओवर एशिया का ही हालत ख़राब है. अगर हम वर्ल्ड को 8 जोग्राफिकल रीजन्स में बांटते हैं तो हमारा जो रीजन है साउथ एशिया का, उसका पोजीशन 7th आता है. ठीक है, और बेस्ट हमारे रीजन में जो कर रहा है वो है बांग्लादेश, और बांग्लादेश इज ऑन 99th पोजीशन. ओके, तो बेस्ट कंट्री इन टर्म्स ऑफ जेंडर गैप इन साउथ एशिया इज बांग्लादेश एंड दैट कंट्री इज ऑन 99th पोजीशन. मतलब हमारी हालत भाई सही में खराब है. मतलब इंडिया का पोजीशन 129. ठीक है, ओके, नाउ इसके बाद वाला, while there has been an improvement in several dimensions of Indian women, this report points to the persistence of gender gap in selected indicators. Okay, so in selected indicators, gender gap have persisted. It remains same. What are those selective? What are those indicators where gender gap have persisted? In survival education, we have done good. So where gender gap have persisted? Right. Right. Anybody watching on Zoom, can you say that in which parameters the gender gap have persisted? Gender gap improve नहीं हुआ है, कहाँ पर? Right, Mani, right, Ganesh. Okay. So in economic and political participation, we have not improved. In health and educational, we have improved. Okay. Okay. There is now why it is a problem. So this article talks about one challenge. We have talked about 4 or 5 challenges. Why it is a problem, why high gender gap is a problem. This article says that there is an ample research documenting the staggering economic cost of sidelining women. It says that if you will sideline women, if you will not allow women to participate equally, then there will be repercussions. So it's not that only women will suffer, overall country will suffer, everybody will suffer if women will not be allowed to participate equally. And An OECD estimate reveals that gender-based discrimination in social institutions would cost up to $12 trillion for the global economy. Okay, that globally, if in social institutions male and female will not be treated equally, then it will cost global economy $12 trillion. Remember, 12 trillion kitna hota hai? We are trying to be $5 trillion economy. Okay, there are some reports which is saying that India GDP is about 4 trillion. Government has not officially said yet, but let's say our economy is about 4 trillion. Globally, if women will not be given equal opportunity, it will lead to loss of $12 trillion. Okay, so that is economic cost. जब तक हम लोग को पैसा के टर्म में नहीं बताया जाता है, हमें फील नहीं होता है, तो चलो ठीक है यार, क्या है, ठीक है. जब when you quantify the loss, then that becomes okay. Internationalization of this understanding would mean that gender equality has to be mainstreamed into economic policy making rather than viewing as a residual concern to be tackled later as an afterthought. मतलब ultimately बोल रहा है कि हमारा जो economic policy है, that policy itself should have provision for gender equality. When we are talking about education, when we are talking about employment generation, when we are talking about which kind of industries to promote, when we are talking about how to upskill our population, there itself we have to think what kind of policies should be made so that more women will be encouraged to come out and and contribute. Yes, homo economicus we are, yes, you are right. Okay, so at economic policy making angle, step itself we'll have to talk. However, equality in economic sphere can materialize only when society treats women as independent, intelligent, capable adult. Okay, this is very last is conclusion. Okay, here you should know how to write a conclusion. Okay, so this gives you an idea कि this is one way in which you can write conclusion. कि सारा कहानी बोल दिया, ये भी बता दिया कि economic policy making if you will change, maybe gender gap will reduce. But then it is telling you that equality in economic sphere can materialize only when society treats women as independent, intelligent, capable adult who are free to make their choices in all matters concerning their life and are included as equal at all level of decision making. Means as long as you will see female as somebody who needs to be protected, who need to be always helped in decision making, till then problem will not be solved. So author is of the view that you have to treat every woman as an independent, intelligent and capable woman, and you should trust them. They will make mistake, even male make mistake, everybody makes mistake. So let them make decision, let them handle their life how they want to handle. Okay? If male can handle their life, female can also handle their life. Both will make mistake, that is okay. Okay. So this was about that. Okay. Now you can, so in this article, you have noted down things like, I hope you have already written Global Gender Gap Index. कौन release करता है? Who releases it? Who releases it? Online? Those who are watching on YouTube and others? Yes. World Economic Forum. Okay. Gender Inequality Index कौन release करता है? UNDP. Right? इंडिया का रैंकिंग वर्ल्ड ये ग्लोबल जेंडर गैप इंडेक्स में कितना है? 129. ओके, जनरली यूपीएससी रैंकिंग नहीं पूछ रहा है, बट यू डोंट नो. ठीक है, कभी भी उसका मूड चेंज हो सकता है. ठीक है, तो बट पहले WEF याद होना चाहिए क्योंकि वो बार बार पूछता है. ओके, हाउ मेनी पैरामीटर्स? ओके, 4 पैरामीटर्स. व्हाट आर दोज पैरामीटर्स? Yes, political empowerment. Yes, so there are 4 parameters. ठीक है, health, education and this. We are doing good on 2 parameters. Okay, education and health. Okay, so global gender gap index, you can write here, global gender gap index. And from now on only start thinking ki how you will manage your notes. Okay, because trust me, after 4-5 years महाभारत हो जाएगा. ठीक है, हर जगह पढ़ा रहेगा, आपको लगेगा कुछ वहाँ लिखा हुआ है, कुछ वहाँ लिखा हुआ है, को याद आएगा कि यार ये वाला भी तो पढ़े थे, पता नहीं कहाँ पर है, और फिर बाद में लोग मार्केट में निकल के फिर से नया नोट्स खरीदते हैं. ठीक है, तो नया नोट्स लेना है लो, बट जो नोट्स बन रहा है उसको ठीक से अरेंज करो. दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज देयर विल बी इंक्रीमेंटल चेंज. कुछ चीज़ आज के आर्टिकल में था, मे बी द सेम वुमेन inequality related thing will come again after 1 month. We will again deal with that. Then we will talk about 2 extra point. तो you should be able to find out कि हमारा women वाला point कहाँ पर है. ठीक है, inequality वाला point कहाँ पर है. अच्छा, वहाँ पर हमारे notes हैं, तो वहाँ पर notes में जाकर 2 points extra लिख दो. तो only then after 1 year आपका सब कुछ अलग अलग रहेगा. That will help you in revision. ठीक है, तो global gender gap index 2024 में जो है, जस्ट जो हमारा 4 पॉइंटर्स था. ठीक है, तो हेल्थ एंड सर्वाइवल अबाउट 95% गैप इज ब्रीज्ड और क्लोज्ड. ठीक है, तो यहां पर आपको पॉजिटिव और निगेटिव दोनों पॉइंट्स मिल रहा है. सी, when you will write start writing answers, particularly those who are new, जब आप आंसर राइटिंग शुरू करते हो, तो let's say there is a question on women gender inequality in India. Okay, you have many data to say कि gender inequality है, बहुत ज़्यादा है, इतना प्रॉब्लम है, वो प्रॉब्लम है. ठीक है, but you need both kinds of data. Yes, gender inequality है. सेकेंड, क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ है. ठीक है, बिकॉज नहीं हुआ है, दैट्स अ बिग कंसर्न. अगर हुआ है तो क्यों हुआ है, देन वी कैन सी कि उसको जिसके कारण इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ है, वी हैव टू डू इट मोर. सो इन ऑर्डर टू राइट योर पॉइंट यू नीड डेटा. इन इकोनॉमी ब्रॉडर डेटा इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. विदाउट डेटा आपका पॉइंट लगेगा जैसे रोड पर कोई भी बोल रहा है. लेट्स से अगर हम किसी से ही बोलेंगे हेल्थ एंड सर्वाइवल, कोई बोल देगा हाँ यार, अब या एजुकेशन के बारे में, हाँ मेल फीमेल सब तो स्कूल जाते हैं, आप यहीं पर देख लो, शाम होगा रोड पर मेल फीमेल आपको सब लोग दिखेंगे. ठीक है, तो हाँ यार सब लोग तो तैयारी कर रहे हैं, सब लोग पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, रिजल्ट आता है, सब लोग का रिजल्ट रहता है, इट्स ओके. बट अनलेस यू हैव अ डेटा यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू डिफ्रेंशिएट योर सेल्फ फ्रॉम मेनी अदर्स. क्योंकि ये पॉइंट ऐसा कोई है, ऐसा थोड़ी है कि हम अलग से रिसर्च करके लाए हैं, बस हमको ही ये पॉइंट पता है और हम ही आपको बता रहे हैं. ऐसा पॉइंट नहीं है ना, जनरल पॉइंट है, हर जगह ये सबको पता है. ठीक है, तो हाउ यू विल डिफ्रेंशिएट योर सेल्फ, यू हैव टू गिव समथिंग एक्स्ट्रा. अब ये डेटा सबको याद नहीं रहेगा. ठीक है, पॉइंट बहुत को याद रहेगा. तो अगर आपको 0.5 मार्क्स एक्स्ट्रा चाहिए तो आपको थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा देना पड़ेगा एग्जामिनर को. ओनली देन यू विल बी एबल टू डिफ्रेंशिएट. ठीक है, क्योंकि मतलब ये पक्का समझ लो कि अबाउट 14,000-13,000 लोग प्रीलिम्स निकालते हैं, फिर वो मेंस लिखेंगे. इन 14,000 अबाउट 4-5,000 जो जनता है, दे आर एक्चुअली वेरी कम्पिटिटिव. ओके, इस 5,000 में से किसी का भी एग्जाम निकल सकता था. ठीक है, अब सीट 700 है तो 700 का ही निकलेगा, इट्स डिफरेंट गेम. बट इस 5,000 में से किसी का भी निकल सकता था. तो हाउ यू विल इंक्रीज योर चांस, very cutthroat competition. Okay, you have to always think of ways to give examiner a reason to provide you some extra marks, क्योंकि वो सबका कॉपी देख रहा है. ठीक है, और उसकी ज़िंदगी दाव पर नहीं लगी है. ठीक है, वो लगभग 55-60 ईयर्स के होंगे, किसी कॉलेज के प्रोफेसर होंगे. ठीक है, तो उनकी ज़िंदगी सेट हो चुकी है. ठीक है, तो वो इतना नहीं सोचेंगे, आपको उनको रीजन देना पड़ेगा कि भाई शो ऑफ करने. आंसर राइटिंग इज लाइक शोइंग ऑफ, कि आप शो ऑफ कर रहे हो, भाई मुझे देखो, मेरी तरफ देखो, मेरी तरफ देखो. तो वो आप अपनी कॉपी में दिखाओगे. देयर शुड बी समथिंग इन योर कॉपी विच शुड अट्रैक्ट. तो हेल्थ एंड सर्वाइवल 95% गैप ब्रीज्ड. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो पॉजिटिव. ओके, बिकॉज 95% इज ब्रीज्ड, इट्स अ बिग पॉइंट. but there is also concern that other countries are doing much better than us. Okay. Similarly, when we talk about education, when you talk about educational attainment, about 96% gap closed. And in data, जैसे यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है 96.4% गैप. ओके, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको 96.4% याद रहना चाहिए. अगर आपको 95% भी याद है, ठीक है, तो भी आपका काम चल जाएगा. ठीक है, इट्स नॉट, मतलब एग्जामिनर जस्ट वांट टू सी कि डू यू हैव द फील, क्या आप 96 की जगह 50% तो नहीं लिख रहे हो. ओके, तो वो काम नहीं करना है. एज लॉन्ग एज आप 95 लिख रहे हो, आप मोर देन 90 भी लिख दोगे तो भी एग्जामिनर उसको पता है कितना है. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जामिनर योर किड्स, ठीक है, वो देख रहा है कि ही इज ट्राइंग टू फाइंड आउट, सेलेक्ट द पर्सन हु विल लीड इंडिया फॉर कमिंग 30-35 ईयर्स. ओके, तो वो उस एंगल से देख रहा है, वो ग्रैंडफादरली एंगल से देख रहा है. ठीक है, तो उतना चलता है. ठीक है, बट यू हैव टू शो कि ठीक है, कम से कम इतना तो पता है. सो दीज टू इज गुड रिलेटिवली, एंड द चैलेंजिंग पार्ट्स जो है इकोनॉमिक पार्टिसिपेशन, okay, so here we have 39.8% gap closed. So this is challenge, and another challenge is in political. In political, it's whole world is a challenge. Okay, so political participation, 25% gap closed. Okay, so here we have positive point, here we have big concern. अब आपको पता है कि आपको इंडिया में जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी के बारे में जब आपको पॉजिटिव लिखना है कि नहीं अच्छी चीज़ें हो रही हैं, आप ये पॉइंट्स यूज़ करेंगे. आपको जब भी ये लिखना है कि नहीं अच्छा चीज़ नहीं चल रहा है, आप ये पॉइंट लिखेंगे. ओके, यू शुड हैव बोथ पॉइंट्स. यू आर नॉट पॉलिटिशियन, आपको कोई पार्टी का पोजीशन थोड़ी लेना है, आपको दोनों तरफ के पॉइंट्स डालने हैं. ठीक है, सो दैट्स दैट. वी विल स्टॉप हियर. ओके, वी वांटेड टू कवर 1 or 2 मोर आर्टिकल्स, बट अभी 6:15 हो गया है. ओके, सी इन करंट अफेयर्स डेली बहुत सारे आर्टिकल आते हैं. स्लोली यू हैव टू लर्न कि विच आर्टिकल इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट. ठीक है, और दूसरा ये कि सेम आर्टिकल बार बार रिपीट होता है. अभी जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी आया, फिर से 10 दिन बाद आएगा न्यूज़पेपर में. ठीक है, अभी एग्रीकल्चर रूरल डेवलपमेंट पर आया, फिर से 1 महीना बाद आर्टिकल आएगा. ठीक है, तो नंबर 1 इज यू हैव टू लर्न हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई विच आर्टिकल इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट, which article you can miss. That's one. And second, you have to slowly learn कि related to a particular theme हमारे काम का क्या है. प्रीलिम्स में क्या पूछा जा सकता है, मेंस में क्या पूछा जा सकता है. Any idea how you will learn this, how you will develop that? क्योंकि जो ये काम, ये स्किल जब आपका डेवलप हो जाएगा तो आपका मेहनत बहुत बचेगा, मतलब आपका फोकस्ड मेहनत होगा. नहीं तो आप देखोगे लोग 4-4 घंटा हिंदू लेके बैठे हुए हैं. ठीक है, और दे से इट वेरी प्राउडली, मैं तो 4 घंटा पेपर पढ़ता हूँ. ठीक है, और इतना से नहीं होता है तो सोते टाइम यूट्यूब पे वीडियो भी देख लेता हूँ. ठीक है, तो और फिर ट्विटर पे न्यूज़ भी फॉलो कर लेता हूँ. ठीक है, भैया इतनी की ज़रूरत नहीं है. ठीक है, आप इतने करोगे तो बाकी किताब कब पढ़ोगे. ठीक है, किताब पढ़ना, आंसर राइटिंग करना, रिविजन करना, ये सब कब करोगे. ठीक है, तो यस, So it's very important. Yes, PYQ and syllabus. Money, you are perfectly right. तो प्रीलिम्स के लिए तो सिलेबस कुछ नहीं कहता है. प्रीलिम्स के सिलेबस में अगर आप देखेंगे तो वहाँ पर हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया, पॉलिटी ऑफ इंडिया, इकोनॉमी ऑफ इंडिया ऐसे लिखा है, तो वो आपको कुछ बोलेगा ही नहीं. आपको प्रीलिम्स का प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन देखना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. तो those who are starting now, just develop habit of finding time to see previous year questions. Maybe initially you will not gain much. शुरू में आपको कुछ पता नहीं चलेगा, since you have not read many of the things. आपको लगेगा क्या है पता नहीं, आपको कोई पैटर्न नहीं दिखेगा. बट नहीं भी दिख रहा है तो भी, जैसे नेटफ्लिक्स पर कभी नहीं भी समझ में आ रहा है तो मूवी देखते रहते हैं टाइम पास, आप वैसे ही आप प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन, अच्छा ठीक है देखते हैं आज इकोनॉमी का क्या क्या पूछा है, ठीक है, प्रीलिम्स का अच्छा ये पूछा है, ये पूछा है, पॉलिटी का कभी देख लो, कभी इसका देख लो, लास्ट 10 साल का देख लो, कभी बोर हो गए लास्ट 15 साल का देख लो, ठीक है. दैट इज फॉर प्रीलिम्स. फॉर मेंस योर सिलेबस इज वेरी डिटेल्ड. ओके, पर्टिकुलरली सम पोर्शन ऑफ सिलेबस इज वेरी डिटेल्ड. सिलेबस में जैसा लिखा है वैसा ही क्वेश्चन मेंस में पूछ रहा है. ओके, तो फॉर मेंस सेम चीज आप कभी GS1 का पेपर सिलेबस लेके बैठ जाओ और साथ में GS1 का क्वेश्चन पेपर लेके बैठ जाओ पिछले 5 साल का, या 1 साल का एक बार में बैठ जाओ कि भाई 2023 लेटेस्ट हुआ है, देखते हैं, ये GS1 का सिलेबस है, ये क्वेश्चन पेपर है. आप नहीं पढ़े हो कोई बात नहीं, देखो वर्ड मिल रहा है क्या. लेट्स से कि अगर हम इकोनॉमी की बात करें, GS3 इकोनॉमी में फूड प्रोसेसिंग आपको सिलेबस में वर्ड दिखेगा. यू ट्राई टू सी कि फूड प्रोसेसिंग पे कोई क्वेश्चन है क्या. आपको समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्वेश्चन, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, ठीक है. इंग्लिश तो समझ में आता है. ओके, इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड इंग्लिश यू कैन सी कि अच्छा सिलेबस में फूड प्रोसेसिंग है. इन क्वेश्चन दे आर आस्किंग क्वेश्चन ऑन फूड प्रोसेसिंग. सिलेबस में पब्लिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम है, सिलेबस में एम्प्लॉयमेंट है, आर दे आस्किंग क्वेश्चन ऑन दैट. एंड इफ यू विल डू दिस एक्सरसाइज टाइम एंड अगेन, पर्टिकुलरली जो लोग नए स्टार्ट करें, 4 महीना 5 महीना तक आप ये काम जब करोगे, बहुत ही बोरिंग काम है, ठीक है. इट्स वेरी वेरी बोरिंग वर्क. आपको नींद आएगा, फ्रस्ट्रेशन लगेगा यार इससे अच्छा तो किताब ही पढ़ लेते, ठीक है. बट स्लोली आफ्टर 4-5 मंथ्स यू विल स्टार्ट डेवलपिंग इनसाइट्स. फिर आपको याद हो जाएगा. फिर आप जैसे ही न्यूज़पेपर में कोई आर्टिकल देखोगे आपको बत्ती जलेगी, यार वो GS पेपर 4 में यहाँ पर एक टॉपिक है, ये तो उसी पर है. या प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन में यार कभी जो है वो फार्मर के प्रॉब्लम पर क्वेश्चन पूछा हुआ है, ये देखो इस बार भी पूछा है. या सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट पे क्वेश्चन पूछा है, वहाँ पर ये क्वेश्चन पूछा है, ये देखो उसी पर आर्टिकल है. तो व्हेन दिस विल स्टार्ट हैपनिंग देन यू विल स्टार्ट रीडिंग स्मार्टली. फिर आपको पता चल जाएगा कि पूरे महीना में हार्डली 15-20 आर्टिकल्स ऐसे होते हैं जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा यूजफुल होते हैं, पर्टिकुलरली मेंस के लिए. तो वो लेवल जैसे जैसे आपका अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप होने लगेगा, आपका मेहनत कम हो जाएगा, फोकस्ड हो जाएगा, ठीक है. सो डू दैट एंड यू विल डू गुड. ओके, चलिए पढ़ाई करते रहिए. व्हेनेवर यू वांट टू टॉक, यू वांट टू डिस्कस, ओके, आई एम हियर इटसेल्फ, ओके, एंड आई एम बाकी बिहारी, दैट्स माय नेम. ओके, चलिए, ओके, बाय बाय एवरीबॉडी.